TJ, welcome to Wafflin.
I run a research lab called Dose Lab, which is a kind of neuroscience research lab. Earth has, for some reason, been able to generate life. We are not tapping into that energy source anymore. Sugar and the phones and the porn and the booze and the disconnect from nature. The phone is what's really got us.
Can you do anything for fun these days? I'm
Yeah,
talking about
bro.
I'm talking about like
Bro.
All right then. TJ,
What's
welcome
up?
to Wafflin. How are you, firstly?
I'm good, man. Excited to chat. Yeah.
Firstly, Luke, you had a big question. What was that?
Well, what does the TJ stand for?
It's Thomas Jefferson.
No
That's-
way.
You're a Thomas
Are you
Jefferson.
serious?
Yeah.
The president.
Yeah, that's...
So your name is Thomas Jefferson Power.
Yeah, I've never said that before anywhere, but
Is that
that's...
100% legit? Or are you having a song?
That's my
Didn't he
name.
invent electricity?
That was Thomas Edison.
Thomas
That's
Edison.
close, though.
Jefferson was the president of America.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my bad. But you obviously are here for a special reason. I'm very excited.
I'm very excited. Yeah.
Mhm.
You've developed a whole way in which, like, you feel like people are obviously living in a way that's not serving us.
Yeah.
How would you describe it? What do you do?
Yeah, effectively, I run a research lab called Dose Lab, which is a kind of neuroscience research lab that studies our 4 brain chemicals: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Very conveniently, those words happen to spell dose. And effectively, these 4 chemicals evolve for a very different experience of life to the one we have today. Like, we spent 300,000 years as humans hunting and foraging and living in little groups and bringing up like big families, and we were deeply connected with the natural world. And if you were to kind of take those people, our ancestors, and chuck them in our world with the sugar and the phones and the porn and the booze and the disconnect from nature, throws these chemicals out. So we're basically running research studies to try and figure out, can we use some of that ancient knowledge to rebalance these chemicals to get them feeling good again?
So essentially, you're looking at how we can revert back to
Caveman
Caveman
time.
Yeah.
times.
It's back to
Yes.
the caveman at this point. At least some aspects of the caveman. Some things are
Beautiful.
good. Like, I like the fact they've got like a roof.
You know,
and
you said
warmth, but there are aspects we
Supermarkets.
want to add back in. Well, it'd be
The
fun if
convenience,
we were
though.
hunting though. We'd feel good.
What would actually a caveman do in these times? How would they actually handle it though? In terms of like, would it just be like a freak out, or would they slowly start to like?
Do you think he's going to
Essentially-
text one and ask them?
No, but
What,
it's
so-
surely
so
some of
as
the
in if they
research.
came to our
Yeah, if you
world?
could like, surely some of the research would be able to suggest how they would behave.
Yeah, I mean, if you, for example, got like some people from the Hadza in Central Africa, like they're still operating like cavemen or
Yeah.
hunter-gatherers.
I went to see them in Tanzania.
Oh,
The
shit,
Hadza
okay.
tribe, yeah. Seeing them, I took them. This was before I did what I did recently that
Yeah.
made me realize I do not want to touch this sugary stuff in the same way. But I took them Maltesers to see
Oh,
how they would
shit.
react.
Okay.
And what was crazy is like they were at first like, what is this? What is this? The second they put it in their mouth, they were literally, it's like they'd done like a line of coke or
Yeah,
something.
they
It was
went
like,
crazy.
oh my God, they were trying to put them all in their pocket and take them. And I could just tell that if this was available to them, they would
Mm.
not go and hunt. They would not do the things that are actually like probably giving them that natural,
Dopamine.
oxytocin, dopamine, everything that actually serves them, and go for this thing that's almost giving them a drug high.
100%.
It was just like quite amazing. But yeah, apparently they're the last hunter-gatherer tribe in Africa, the Hadza tribe.
They're still operating, and apparently they've been operating in that way for like 65,000
Yeah.
years, maybe longer, who knows. And you said there, like, it was almost like they'd done a line of coke. Effectively, for their brain chemistry, because they'd never experienced any artificial dopamine, it almost might have been the same as a line of coke to what it would be for us, for example, if we did that, because the dopamine would be like, fuck, this is so new and novel, and their dopamine would go crazy. And if you were, for example, to just put them all in a plane, fly them to London, they would get off that plane, say they like came out in the middle of Piccadilly Circus, they would experience just like such immense overstimulation. Their
Yeah.
brain would be like, whoa, what is going on? All this light and sound and
They'd
smells
be
and
scared,
people.
do you think?
Yeah, they would go into like deep anxiety. They'd be like, well, they might go into like anxiety. They might go into like anger and fight, like a fight response of like, shit, like what's going on here? And all the buses going past. They'd be very, very stressed. They'd feel like they're in danger. And we've obviously, as modern humans, built this like immense tolerance to it to an extent. But we're also really struggling. Like, our brains aren't working that good. Loads of people are feeling like anxious and depressed. And so much of it is rooted in this misalignment to nature.
So, how do you propose we live like them?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a big question. I would start by asking you the question. Do you reckon, where do you live? Do you live in like London or outside London?
South Coast, by like Brighton.
Okay. Do you reckon you could go for a walk, like in nature. There's some good nature in Brighton.
Yeah.
Could you go for a walk on your own for 60 minutes with your phone left in the car or at home?
No headphones.
No headphones.
100%.
You could.
I
would
love
struggle.
doing that regularly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And has that
without a
always
doubt.
been a thing? Is that a new thing you've added?
Yes, I mean, I'd say like over the past like couple of years, I've been like really, I don't know whether you call it spiritual awakening or whatnot, but just
Whatever it is.
realizing like what I need to do to actually like serve me here.
Okay.
And yeah, in terms of like reconnecting with nature and doing what is actually going to be good for us, connecting with nature in that way, actually listening to nature in that way and being open to receive rather than just distract has been
Yeah.
like massive for me. Yeah, 100%.
I have to physically refrain myself from getting my phone out while I'm taking a piss.
Yeah. Mate, it's hard. It's hard.
You probably. I bet you don't even think about it, but
Like you go to a urinal in a bar or something and you just straight
Oh,
there.
especially in a bar, yeah.
Yeah.
But
And
that
that's
walk, I would find that very easy to do.
very easy.
Yeah,
So
I
you're
mean,
all
you
right, like an
cycle,
hour
right?
in
Like-
your
I do
head.
cycling as well.
Yeah.
That's cool. And that's good. So that's like almost stage one in the journey is spending a prolonged period of time in your own head in nature. And for many, it's actually quite tough. Like you go into nature and you hear all these thoughts of like things you're stressing out about girls or your health or whatever it might be, money, work. And effectively, like for me, when I got into this, like I didn't just come into this as like some neuroscientist monk that like thinks everyone should be healthy. I grew up as the most like insane dopamine addict from like the time I discovered that like smoking cigarettes is cool when you're like 11, then it's all right, so we'll start doing that. And then it's like porn and sugar and booze and then partying and going super hard down that lane. And eventually I was all right, I need to sort this out. Like I went to a festival when I was like 21, 22 and pushed it to the absolute max of where you can
We've all been there.
you can take yourself right to like death basically. And I remember thinking I like kind of almost came conscious from not being too aware of what had been going on for a while. And I remember thinking like, shit, I just gotta leave, like I'm gonna have to go because I was just not in a good way. And I walked all the way back to where we were staying. It's like an hour on my own. And remember chatting to myself like, okay, I've got to try and sort this out. Like I'm not going to be able to, I was coming out of university at this point. I'm not going to be able to make any money if I'm just like banging it every night for like 7 days a week. So then I thought, okay, what is like step one in this? And I went and lived at my grandpa's house. He lived kind of in nature. And I thought that'll kind of take me away from the boys for a bit. So I'm not like trying to send it all the time. And I thought, okay, so I'm away from them. I'm going to start with the phone addiction because the phone addiction, interestingly, in the research is actually fueling so much of the other addictions because it's training us to have this brain that's like, I need dopamine, I need instant reward. And then we're craving the vapes more, the sugar more, the booze more as a result of that root cause. So I was like, I'm going to start waking up and try and go for a walk without my phone for an hour, not sleep with the phone in the bedroom, which I found so hard at the beginning, and then go for a walk for an hour. And then discovered that out there in the quiet, not only are you just like walking in nature, which is good, but you actually begin to hear the messages of how you're supposed to live your life. And nature has this genius way of communicating that. There's this crazy thing called quantum consciousness theory where nature almost is actually communicating with us through the nature. Because nature's like arguably alive. It's not like dead. You don't walk out there and it's all dead.
It's 100% alive.
It's
yeah.
alive for sure. And when you're walking in it for prolonged periods of time with no stimulation, you start to hear, and it sounds a bit like deep or spiritual, but some of the wisdom that you genuinely really, really need to get your life on track.
Can I ask, do you have the same stimulus, from walking in nature, like in a forest and Victoria Park, which, you know, it's in London especially, it's quite hard to find real nature, real serenity. Is it the same or is it not?
I mean,
Can it work?
there'd be like tiers to it. So like 100% going for a walk in Victoria Park is great. Our brain wants periods of really low levels of stimulation. Like our brain is like super overstimulated and it's like bang, bang, bang. There's this thing called beta brain waves, which is when your brain is just like thinking and operating very fast. In a part like that, you might get some times in the day where it's like a little bit more chill and that'd be quite good. But a lot of the time, there might still be a lot going on. So you're getting some of the benefit of nature, but you're still pretty stimulated by like walking around people and seeing all the stuff going on, like trying to buy stuff and like coffees. And it's just like very busy. Whereas in Japan, for example, where they're doing most of the nature research, if you were to walk like deep in a forest in Japan with nothing going on, that's like, that'd be the optimum level that we're aiming at. But there's tiers for sure. Like a simple walk around a bit of green is 100% good for you for sure.
I guess what I'm trying to gauge as well is like, do you think that this is strictly just scientific, human brain, the different amygdala, frontal cortex, like, and it's just a human concept? Or do you think there's anything bigger than just what's, I guess, this 3D experience?
That's a good one. I think science has just taken us as far as we currently are in our knowledge. And like these brain chemicals, for example, they give us a good look into what might be happening. Like, good to learn that effort is really important for dopamine, or nature is really important for serotonin, or contribution is important for oxytocin. But I think they're only as far as science has currently been able to tell us what the story is. I think there's something
What do you
way
believe?
beyond. I believe that we've always considered the idea that, like, God, if you believe in God, which obviously a lot of people now don't believe in God, but God would be some kind of creator of life. That's like the general story of God, wherever it's been told. And that we're living on an earth that is covered in life, and that earth has for some reason been able to generate life unlike all the other planets we can see. And I believe there's some kind of energetic force that's here in this location that has created life, and that we are not tapping into that energy source anymore because we've become so disconnected from it. And I think the misalignment to nature could be told down the story of neuroscience, which I believe to be true, but you could also go completely down a nature God lane and it would come to a probably similar conclusion.
Interesting.
I think you two might see eye to eye, but interestingly, from a different perspective. I mean, do you want to preface any of your thought with recent events, or
Yeah, I'm curious.
I wouldn't say that it's solely down to what I've done recently. To, you know, it's very much what I've done recently. It's just been more of a reminder of what I already knew deep down.
And when, just sorry to interrupt, the going and seeing the tribe, because that would have been a part of this journey for you. How long ago was that?
That was in April.
Okay. And you think you've been like curious about the natural way, let's call it, or whatever, God?
For a long
few
time. I
years.
wouldn't just say God. I wouldn't just say like that, because that's again putting ourselves into a slightly limited box.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
saying recently, I guess the most profound experience I did an ayahuasca retreat.
Okay.
Have you ever explored any?
I haven't done it. I've done like psychedelic experiences that have been pretty powerful, not as powerful as ayahuasca would be. But I have a close cousin who lives in Australia who is a super like hippie hunter-gatherer type guy who's inspired me a lot. And he has done that ayahuasca and San Pedro and all that stuff. What was that journey like for you?
It was incredible. I mean, I'd say for each person in the retreat, I guess they kind of reached the same conclusion, but it was shown to us in a way that I guess each of us could digest.
Okay.
But overall, for me, my experience was taking the veil away of like any preconceived ideas of what there is completely, and just sort of seeing the truth.
Okay.
Of where we're all actually from and why we're here.
Okay. Cool.
That, you know, religion is a pathway there. I guess science is a pathway there. Nature's a pathway there. But it all goes to that same place of infinite love. Like we are essentially all from that infinite love. And some people say that's just God or spirituality or, you know, whatever. But it was essentially like seeing where we're all from, and that our purpose here on earth is to align with love.
Wow,
and
that's powerful.
You may have your obstacles that you need to go through. Theo may have something, Luke may have something else, and I may have something else. But it's about whatever gets presented your way. How can you choose love and not choose hate? And hate could be hating on yourself. So the easy option may be to have that sugary drink to take my mind off something, or to hit the vape, or to hit the thing that's not serving me, but it gives me that brief moment of that dopamine, of that good feeling. But it's actually like essentially what would be described as the devil in disguise. Come on, do this. It's the easy way, but ultimately it's leading you to more suffering. Or are you going to take the thing that requires more effort, which is essentially aligning with love? That may be, you know, delayed gratification, but it's actually aligning with love. And that may be being honest with yourself, loving the parts of yourself that you're ashamed of, that you wouldn't be able to tell anyone. Because you're that ashamed. I can't tell it. No one can know that because I'll be rejected. I'll be abandoned. You know, I'll be like, people laugh at me and I'll be embarrassed. It's like, how can you love yourself in totality and thus spread love to this world? That is essentially like what I was showing. The earth is a school of love.
Mate, that's good.
Yeah.
It's so interesting as well, because in our research, obviously we're so focused on these 4 chemicals, and dopamine has become the main kind of story of the modern world, the main chemical people have heard of, for example. But we can continue to see that the oxytocin chemical seems to be the one that provides the most value to improving someone's experience of life, and that it's not necessarily just achieving more and more dopamine or more stimulation, but the oxytocin one being the chemical that's released in childbirth, and then when you give love and receive love. Powerful. And how, because I haven't done an experience like that, how did it communicate to you that love was the kind of source energy?
So there was visual elements. I'd say for me, I actually had to die in the experience, like as in like allow myself
literally
to die. Yeah, and experience what death is. And the only scary part about death was the part leading up to it. The fear of like, oh my God, I'm going. The second you surrender to that death, it's the most blissful thing because you go back to where we're all from, which is that infinite love. And it's like, oh my, imagine that infinite love feeling. And you're like, wow, I'm seeing it. I'm feeling it. I'm home. It's that feeling. The way it communicates with you is you're in an internal monologue. So I describe it as like a feminine sort of like voice and
like a mother energy.
That was that sort of feeling. But also I saw things. I saw it would be like almost seeing the hierarchy of like from Earth and how the stages where what you can use to get back to that connection. And like it can be from the nature, from spiritual teachers like Jesus and, you know, different spiritual teachers that are obviously involved in the religions that we know about. God. But even God was here, and then it was infinite love.
Okay.
It's like even God is a way to that infinite love and reconnecting. And ultimately, like the best way that we can connect to that is love ourselves, treat ourselves as lovingly as possible, and not lie to ourselves. We're the only beings that can lie, and animals are so tapped into that place that we think we know best. They're like dogs, way more connected. That's why. Why do you think dogs love unconditionally? They know what they actually are. It's only us that can lie. And I think that was the mad thing. Like we can come up with all these excuses of why we think, oh, I can have this. I deserve this. I deserve to hate myself. But it's only keeping you in that plane of hate, which essentially what I was showing as well is Earth can be the hell. Earth is the hell. Where we're from is the heaven. And we can make it the hell. And obviously the people that are in charge in this place want you to really feel like you're all alone and that we're all divided and that you need these things in order to just get by. And you deserve it.
Yeah.
But really, they want you to rely on their drugs, rely on their stuff, like feed you and make like Mackey's the cheapest thing that you can get. So have that, and then we'll sell you that solution. You know what I mean? And it was just like mental, but like we don't have to suffer here. It doesn't have to be hell. We can make it that loving, beautiful place. But we have to. We do that through coming together and realizing that you're no different to me. You are me. We're all from the same place, just in different vessels. And that's what when we talk and when we have our like shared moments and we connect, that's what we realize. That's what we're seeing in each other. A piece of ourselves, a piece of that love. And that's what's so amazing. We don't need this shit that they're trying to sell us. We can just actually like have each other and live with each other and support each other and realize none of us are alone. But it takes action and effort.
Yeah,
and that's what they want us to stay in. They want us to rely on this thing with our head pointing down.
Yeah.
And it's fucked. And I guess my biggest obstacle coming back from the ayahuasca thing is like, I want to share this message.
Yeah.
But I don't want to preach. And you know what I mean? Because that can instantly turn people away. But like after seeing that stuff and almost having, like I say, that veil taken away, it's like, I just wish everyone would see this.
Yeah, so fair.
You know, and I'm sure that's what you feel like. I wish everyone could see this because what you're trying to communicate is love.
Yeah.
You're trying to be like, look, guys, love yourself. Don't hate yourself. And I think that's what's like beautiful about what you're doing. So, but yeah, you're the guest. So let's get back to
I love it, mate. Do you know how magical it is to just see someone speak from their heart with truth? Like this is what the world needs, man. Like all us men, we're like afraid to stand in truth. We're afraid to like be like, oh, I'm not watching porn. I'm not going to drink as much because it's actually fucking my life up. We're afraid of that. So all power to you. Keep going.
No, respect.
It sounds like what you talk about, living in that world, is an ideal scenario. And sometimes it feels like we're unable to get there.
Yeah.
You know, it feels impossible, I think, especially in this modern world of living in, especially the West. But you're proposing kind of a solution.
Yeah, like a middle ground of some kind.
What does that look like?
It looks like a entirely different approach to effectively quick dopamine. Like all this stuff that generates dopamine fast in our brain, our phones, the vapes, the sugar, the porn, the booze. That's the stuff that we have to like really get a handle on first, because the dopamine chemical evolutionarily is the one that gives us all of our motivation to do stuff, to bother, to choose the better path, to do the exercise, to cook the healthy food, to go on the walk, whatever it might be. The dopamine gives us the fuel effectively in our brain to bother. And if we're completely drained out of that resource, we don't have any desire effectively to choose the better path. So step one, I think for everyone, is to consider this phone thing, because the phone is what's really got us. Like humans were drinking the booze and smoking the cigarettes over the last like few hundred years, 1,000 years, however long we've had the booze. But we were still like deeply connected to each other. Life was more physical. We were still putting in a lot more effort. Our food system was a lot better. And then the phone has began to really get us. We've got lazier. We got more addicted to the porn. We're less connected. We're less sexually connected, like in a beautiful, intimate side of love, not just like a sex side of love. So I think the phone, and we can go through this, I think it'd be good for people to understand like how do you actually sort out the phone? I think it has to be done.
Yeah, I think that's probably my biggest question, because I mean, me and Wella spoke about it on the way up here, but we've spoken about it on the podcast before, where we've tried to actively encourage people to not just sit and watch shit constantly on your phone or do whatever on your phone, but so much easier said than done.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you not
like,
think
you
it's a
need
bit
a
of an irony
protocol.
though, us sitting here on a podcast uploading clips?
But this is the
Posting
thing.
clips
This
all the
is the
time.
thing that I've had, where it's like I want to communicate my message in a way that's like not just preaching but embodying it. Like if I show that like we can have powerful conversation and we can like do things that actually like show that message. Like the phone is a representation of the world. You can see the world as that is just a shit place. The world's fucked. Why am I going to feed the world in that way? But like you could actually be the thing on that phone that actually make people start seeing it differently rather than just consuming the shit.
But
You
that's
know
what I'm
what I
saying. Is what you're trying to say though, is that look, a lot of this stuff isn't, inherently bad for you. It's just finding that balance of what is okay and what isn't okay. Because ultimately the phone, we talk about all this screen time, and screen time should definitely come down. There's a lot of shit on, especially TikTok and whatnot.
Yeah.
But the phone has progressed the human race massively.
Yeah, bro. And like, I'm grateful for the phone. Like, I have built my whole career off the fact of being able to have a social media account. Also found my fiance, who's soon going to be the mum of my first kid in 16 weeks, which is cool.
quality.
Found her on Instagram, and then
Just slid in the DMs.
slid in the DMs.
Would you say you felt like you saw the account and you were like, yes?
Bro, I knew it literally in a second. Scrolled the account and I was like, oh, it's my wife. Like, if she'll say yes, that's my wife. And began the process of the DMs. I didn't know if she'd even be interested at all, so I actually sent her a message saying I run this dose thing, and I could see she was a clinical nutritionist, and I was like, do you want to come on a Zoom? I need some help with the gut health aspect of dose, because I was like, at least I'll get her on a call, at least I can get her there, and then like maybe I'll be able to convince her that I'm interesting or whatever you need to do. And a few weeks after that, I actually booked a flight. She's from Australia, booked a flight to go to Australia for a date, which was a massive risk.
Wow.
And
That's dedication.
turns out she was the girl, so like that's heaven. And in answer to your question, I'm therefore pretty grateful for the phone. Like my whole career, and therefore my future in life and kid and partner is from the phone. There's just a specific balance to strike. Like I would say with porn, there's not like a balance to strike with porn. Like porn, unfortunately, has to go as hard as it is. Like porn is fucking addictive and it's pleasurable when you watch it, but porn's got to go. I don't think the phone has to go, but I just think there needs to be steps in place that get you away from the short form content, stop you checking it so frequently throughout the day and stuff like that.
Finding the right balance that's healthy.
Yeah, and like when you socialize, getting like confident socializing. Like loads of teenagers watch your show. Like I actually was chatting to, I train loads of boys in schools, and they were talking about your show. Like, oh, you should try and go on their show, because like they listen to you guys speaking, and this is what I think is so good. You're speaking into these ideas. They need this, man. And in that conversation with them, I'm not trying to say like get rid of all your phones or like, oh, you're such idiots for going on social media, but there's just a over frequency, and then when you're on it too long, that's creating this brain rot, which is like breaking our brain. So
I think that's the thing with it. Like it can so amazingly be a tool.
yeah,
And like it really can, to not just connect with like 5 people in a room, which maybe like cavemen, obviously, the communities were a lot smaller. Maybe that is how we were just meant to, be.
Yeah.
But if we're in this day and age, it may be for a reason. And if we can connect to people on a larger scale, like there's almost, you actually can have more of an impact, right?
Yeah.
But it's so easy, the way that that's crafted. And this is why I start getting into the thing of like who actually runs the world and the reason why, things are the way they are. That is so perfectly targeted to hit you at your points where you can't say no.
Yeah,
like,
it's tough.
Like those biggest, massive, unnatural dopamine hits,
Mhm.
like porn, how easy it is to reach that, which should be such a task in reality to find like a mate and like all the effort that should actually, happen in order for that bond to happen. The way we can access that reaction so easily and turn it into something that is essentially abusing ourselves. Like kids aren't meant, how are kids going to know how to like, off the bat manage that? It's like it's abuse in a way, I feel. And I think what you're doing and the ways in which we can actually like learn from people like yourself, like I think it's massive.
And I've gone deep down that route of like, oh fuck, like why top down are we getting forced into these pathways? And then thinking like, should I spend my career trying to move towards like legislating stuff, like try and block the porn or block this or get the social media companies to change. But I unfortunately just don't think that's going to be a successful route. Like I think change is going to have to come like bottom up from within each of us. And I think it can come from within each of us. Like I was a total mess. Like I can't even do it justice how much of a mess I was. And even with the porn thing, I was on a show the other day and I was thinking like, when did I actually first watch porn? I was trying to think about that. And then I realized that I'd moved house at 9 years old to a different house. I just remember that move. And I definitely had watched it at the first house. So I'd watched porn younger than 9, which is so freaking young.
Yeah, man. I
think how much that's been getting my brain
for me. Like it was like, and I think I used it as pain relief more than anything. Like as the stresses of school and whatnot, and like almost being like, I don't know if it's like an empath in certain ways, but I'd really on board like whatever I'd like experienced in the day, and it would be the one thing that then could have that pure bliss moment of like release. Well, I'm by myself, and it was every day. I couldn't go to sleep without it from like the age of 10.
Mate,
like,
mad.
Bonkers, isn't it?
And there's this weird thing that happens in your life if you stop watching it, because as I say, like it can be, obviously it's actually very deeply screwing that feeling of love in your life. So there's that component, and from a dopamine lens, it burns this resource to the ground. And then I've told my friends, like just test it out, like maybe 4 years ago or something, when I started thinking like, I've got to try and stop watching this stuff. And it's so hard to stop watching it because unlike the booze and stuff, it's much more of like a private addiction and no one knows it's happening. Whereas like when I was really addicted to weed or addicted to alcohol, like it was super obvious. Like I was like constantly smoking or constantly drinking. Whereas with this, it was like, oh, no one's going to know. And so I went through this process of like, okay, I'm going to try and stop. And I said to my mates, just try it, like 5 days. All you got to do is 5 days. They're like, fuck's sake, TJ, what you got us doing now? Then they would do 5 days and they'd be like, mate, I'm so productive and I'm going to the gym and I'm eating good. And it's because they've got this resource back in their brain, the resource that literally gave us as men the desire to hunt for survival so that a woman would like us so that we'd be able to create children. Like that is such a key resource. Whether you're in a relationship or you're single, if you constantly see boobs on the screen, like in the relationship scenario, your girl's eventually going to stop wanting to have sex with you because you're going to be like constantly like a little weird porn kid. And then she's not going to want to like have sex with you loads and like build like a really good intimate relationship. Then if you're constantly just like whacking off to porn, looking at boobs on there, you're not going to have that motive when you're out to like have the confidence and that energy within you to be like, hey, like, how you doing? And like build a conversation. So it's like, it's a crucial step.
Also, you're going to be operating from like the plane of guilt. So like the more you're, you know, the second you finish a wank, what do you feel like? Like honestly, right now, what do you feel like? You feel like, oh, okay, that was class, you know, good feeling. But, you know, would you want to now announce this? There's a reason why you want to do it in private and you wouldn't want anyone to know. It's because like, there's shame around it. There's guilt. And it's like, the more you invite that in through what you're doing and like low-key, the real you, the infinite love you who wants to love yourself, like you don't want to be doing anything you're shameful of. And the more you invite that in, the more you're actually feeling like that. So when you're maybe in the presence of girls that you may be attracted to, it's like, I'm not worthy. I'm guilty. I'm like, I'm not proud of myself at all.
I hope this isn't like a grotesque question, but
What?
it's genuine.
Bro, hit me.
What are your thoughts on, you know, like having one out over perhaps a video of yourself and your girlfriend?
Yeah, okay.
Yourself, just end it there.
Over yourself. You like to wank to yourself. Bro, I would say...
Why have you brought that up, by the way?
No, because...
No, it's a good question. It's a good question.
No, because that the last time I had a wank was when Ruth was away in America, and I was like, I don't want to watch porn, so I went into the archives and found a video. Yeah,
bro. I mean, that's fair. And that's an honest thing to share. I would say...
She'll appreciate that as well.
Earlier we talked about the... poor Ruth. Earlier we talked about the tears of nature, like the Japanese forest being the dream and then like parks and stuff. There would also be tears. They're like what's too overstimulating for our brain from like a masturbation point of view. And like porn, obviously you build tolerance to it and it's intense. Like there's a lot going on when you're watching porn. Whereas that actually was reality, what you were watching. Mm-hmm. So you're not as overstimulating. You're not as overstimulating your brain as much, effectively. So masturbation itself is not super bad for us. If you still did it every day without porn, it'd probably create some like crash in your energy system. But what's interesting is when you come away from the porn, you just don't wank every day because like, you don't actually want to wank. You want to watch porn. And then if you start to just not watch the porn, you get horny like once every like 3 or 4 days. Or maybe if you're like young, you're a young teenager, maybe it is every day. But masturbating without porn is not bad for us at all. And then masturbating, to like your own relationship, that's much more natural than watching like a load of dudes do some hectic stuff to a girl.
Would you say a lot of this stuff though, does it depend on your actual personality, whether you have more of an addictive personality and less of an addictive personality?
Yeah, there's deep variation. We have like big variations in this thing called the ARD2 gene, which is like a gene that can like prime you towards addiction. And there's also fluctuating levels of dopamine naturally. And if someone's born with lower levels of dopamine production naturally, when they experience the porn and the booze and cigarettes and so on, they'll get these big, big highs and they'll be like, it's really, really good. And interestingly, ADHD, for example, is actually low dopamine levels. And that's why it's treated with Adderall and Ritalin to try and like baseline the dopamine back up. And ADHD, which like obviously like loads of people now have ADHD, originally for our ancestors, if they had had this like slightly lower dopamine production than the rest of the tribe, and they might have done, like genetically, there would have been variation. Interestingly, the ones with the lower dopamine would have gone out, tried the hunting when they're like 7, 8, 9. Apparently in the Hadza, they're providing 50% of their own food by 7 years old. That's how productive the kids are compared to our kids. So say they went out there and they go and do their hunting, or they make the fire, or they go like shoot a bow. The kid with the actual low dopamine, the ADHD of the modern world, would actually experience more of an increase in dopamine than the neurotypical brains that are in the tribe, and would actually like it more. And the ADHD kids in the tribes would have actually got the best at everything. But the ADHD kids in the modern world are thinking like, I'm so like struggling with this dopamine, so I'm just going to spend my life like scrolling content. And in the modern world, it's becoming a disadvantage. Previously, it was actually an advantage. And I'd almost call it like ADHA, like ability at the end of disorder. Like originally it would have been powerful. And in answer to your question, if you have that, if you have like an ADHD brain, you are going to be much more susceptible to addiction. But you're also going to have a brain that could create the most insane life. You can work hard, you can get good at something, you can focus on something. So if it is channeled in the right direction, you actually have an advantage over the world.
Can you be the opposite?
The naturally high dopamine?
Yeah.
Yeah, if someone was like one of those people that has a lot of resilience to all this modern stuff, like if you've got someone that like watches loads of porn, drinks loads, eats loads of sugar, takes those drugs, but still has really good mental health and still lives a great life, maybe they've got some brain that can cope with it better. But I mean, I've never met one, so I don't know if they exist.
So are you trying to argue the point?
I'm just asking if there's one level over here, is there another level over there, or is there more like a middle ground? You see what I'm saying?
Are you arguing that because you think you sit
No,
somewhere?
absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. No. But I definitely don't have, like, you know how your addictive personality is higher than a regular person, I would say.
I wouldn't say addictive. I get obsessive. So as in, like, if something's bringing me a good feeling, like if I've just started doing yoga, I'm now doing yoga every day, and my brain
that is
wants
an
to
addictive,
do it wants to do
that
it
is an
twice
addictive
a day.
personality.
But it's like,
but it's to a good thing.
I'd say it's more like, yeah, I mean, you could
Do you
say
know
it's
what I
that, but I guess, yeah, it's obsessive in a way that, like, you're chasing that good feeling, and I guess that good feeling is where it comes from that is so important, because it could come from meeting up with the boys early morning, going hunting, providing for your family. You've got the oxytocin, you've got the socializing, you've got that bonding, realizing that you're not all alone, but also there's something at the end of it, which is like you're eating, all of the serotonin that comes with that, and then also feeding your family. Wow. That's using it in a good way. Whereas I guess, like that's maybe why I've been susceptible to things like pornography and also like not useful things equally. So
like
it's
channeling in
the world we live
for
in,
you.
really, that
I
we've
think
got to
also,
navigate.
Yeah, like the argument now is that it doesn't matter if you've got an addictive personality or not. Everyone is on their phone.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like we've almost been programmed into all being addicts. Like addiction used to be a thing like a few hundred years ago, where maybe some had like real susceptibility with the booze or whatever it may be, and some could have managed it. Whereas now, and this is why I said the phone is right at the core of it, it's like we're all craving instant reward. We all can't do anything that requires patience and effort to wait for reward. Like I saw this great sentence the other day that laziness is effectively an addiction to focusing on the effort of an activity rather than the outcome it will provide you with. And if you actually think about that, like with laziness, like if you think like, making myself a healthy dinner will be so long, so I can't be fucked, so I'm not going to do it, and then you're not going to get any outcome, you're going to stay lazy. But if you sit on the sofa and you think, if I went to the supermarket and bought myself a steak and got some like good stuff, you just focus on the outcome of eating the steak, you're going to get up and go and do it. And we're obsessed with focusing on the effort and not the outcome.
That is where goals, like when you say like you're a goal motivated person, that is literally what that is. It's focusing on the result rather than the difficulty that gets there. And everyone in existence, that ultimately has always been our most natural challenge. It's like, I want food to provide for my family and survive. It's survival. It's like the end goal of survival beats whatever it takes to get there.
No matter how big or small the goal is, if you want that goal, you'll just do whatever it takes to get there.
Yeah.
Whether it's the training, the eating, whatever.
This is where the disguise comes in, because you can see that perfectly lovely coloured packaged thing is like, I can have this. This is okay. This is fine. But you see it as like the reward, the good thing. Whereas really that's the disguise thing that's made to look so nice that's actually preventing you from getting to that end goal that's actually what you're after. Does that make sense?
And we're not focusing on like
That's fine. But this is where I have a thing with it.
all right.
Is that having a Fanta
Mm-hmm.
on the odd occasion or whatever is fine.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
mean,
get
Is it not?
Yeah, but as in you will have the Fanta and then you'll have the Mawams and then you'll
Don't
go home
exist.
and then have the Mackies and then you have all these other things that and then
only when
loads
you
of
see it.
chocolate and then it's like mate, the real you knows you're harming yourself. The real you knows that, but it does. It just
But I
does.
do, for the most part, I do eat well and I do eat clean.
Okay, I'm not disputing that, but as in like,
But that's why I
Ives-
think I'm good with the balance.
the odd Fanta, fair enough. You know consciously what you're doing. But I'm just saying, like, I've seen how you eat, brother, and I'm saying I'm not sure. It's not crazy to see why you're injury prone or why there's certain neurological things that you're maybe like finding difficult. What you're saying about like even speech and stuff, and thinking straight, like it all impacts, bruv. Like it's not, you know what I mean? It's not a joke.
I think it is something that is possible where I think correct me if I'm wrong, what we're saying here is that those little giving into those temptations is kind of like then has a ripple effect.
100%. They feed each other effectively. Like as soon as that dopamine devil gets its opportunity to chat to you, it wants more. Like when I was trying to come away from drinking, like for me, I had to stop drinking. Like I went through years of it. Like I'm going to be balanced. I'm going to force myself to just have 2 pints or 3 pints. Then after the 2 or 3 pints, this voice would appear in my mind. It wasn't even my fucking voice.
Man, the devil's a real thing, bro.
Bro, it
But
wasn't
could
even
you
my...
not go for just a pint?
Yeah, so I could. So I got to that point where I did that for a couple of years as well. Like I'd go for the pint, or like I convinced myself with dating before I met my partner that like, oh, it'll be weird if I don't drink because they'll find it awkward. So I'll have 1 glass of wine or whatever it might be. And this is the devil, mate. And what would happen is I would have the drink and I could force myself to stop. But I'd be battling the voice in my mind saying, just have like 1 more glass of wine. Like, what's it going to do? It's not that bad for you. Like, it's a bit of balance, like all that stuff. Like, that's what the voice would do. And then eventually, over time, you discover like your best life is the side of that voice just not existing at all. Effectively. Like, and it will
always
go.
exist. That's the thing. It will
always exist, but it can be a hell of a lot quieter.
Yeah, exactly. The more
Like,
you
it can be
feed it,
so
the louder it gets. And the more you
Yeah,
can see
bro.
it for what it is. Like anything that comes in your mind that's negative isn't actually you because you're infinite love. Like you are love.
Interesting.
That's in your
Yeah,
that
that's
in your
true.
head
On that
that's-
level, it
that's
is
telling
always
you
there.
to do something that's harming you. That's not actually you, and that's what's actually quite empowering about like why you can be confident and have self-worth and believe in yourself, because it's not actually you telling yourself that you're shit. It's not. It's that thing that's like here that can actually create that hell for you.
But I look at like, say like the older generation or whatever.
Yeah.
Or even like my parents who like, they live such a blissful life, such a happy life.
How do you know that? I think that's nostalgia's a beautiful thing to go like I
No,
can see
now.
a picture. Oh, they do now.
Yeah, now.
Okay, amazing.
Like I'm
What
talking right now in the
okay.
now.
That's cool.
And, like, they'll have a
Amazing.
drink or two, but like, is that inherently wrong? Is that like, or is it for certain people you need to live that way? Like I've gone through periods of not drinking, been absolutely fine. I drink now, and I would say, I don't drink midweek. I think I've had a really good balance, and like I went to a wedding and I had a great time and drunk and built so many of these amazing memories. Is that inherently bad, or is it just for some people? It just so happens that it's not for them and it is for others.
Yeah, I think it is coming back to just like an honesty with yourself. Like I am envious in a way. Like I would like to be able to go to a wedding and just like have a load of drinks. Like I know I would have fun for a period of time having the booze. And if you're like honesty within yourself, it's like, yeah, like I can have a few drinks, but this isn't like reducing my quality of life or reducing my capacity to get to my dreams or get to my dream relationship or become like a great dad one day or whatever it might be that you care for. Then I think that honesty is like good to listen to. And I think for each individual person, they just got to find what that answer is. And this is why I say the 60-minute walk in the nature without the phone, because out there, the truth has to come through. Like however you're living life, if you're banging the porn super hard or you're eating like shit or you're not putting in any effort to build yourself a career of some kind, that is going to speak to you. And I think so many of us are now afraid of the quiet. Like we literally hate the quiet. Like if I told you to like sit on your sofa for half an hour in silence, you'd be like, fuck, silence, 30 minutes. But there's something in that silence that's very important to hear.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
100%. I think that's why. Do you meditate?
Yeah, I do meditate. And that's a pretty crucial part of the journey. Because when I was at uni, in my 3rd year, I signed up for like a mindfulness course, and I only picked it, to be honest, because I thought it looked easy compared to all the really complicated stuff I was doing. I was like, oh, that looks good. Like you just like lie down for a module. And I got there and I remember I walked in and the guy was like moving all the desks to the side, and I thought, oh, nice, that'll be different. Like I was a nightmare in school. School just didn't work for me, like trying to sit there and like obey. And I walked in, I thought, this is going to be great. And then we all sat down in a circle and I was like, nice, something different. And then he was like, okay, we're going to do 20 minutes, like in the quiet. He wanted us to really experience it. And I was in hell. Like, I was like, what the fuck is going on in the quiet? Now I remember, and it's so funny now that this is what my job is, but I remember like opening my eyes and kind of like looking around, like peering my eyes open, seeing that everyone was really committed. And then I just got my phone out and just watched content for the whole meditation because I couldn't cope. I was like, I couldn't cope. And then this module was on a Friday morning, and I used to get hammered on a Thursday night. Thursday night at uni was like a particularly fun night where there was this main bar that we liked to go to. So for like a whole 4 months, every single Friday morning when I was ridiculously hungover, I had to sit for 20 minutes and think about the fact I was hungover. Like eventually I stopped getting the phone out and I'd sit there in the quiet, and like in that quietness, important stuff takes place. Like you think, oh shit, maybe this isn't actually creating like a life I really love. Maybe it's like momentary pleasure that in the moment it's like, fuck yeah, it's so fun. Like let's get fucked. And then it wears off and you're like, oh, actually.
How do you meditate now?
I have 2 ways. Either I'll do breath work or meditation, like depending on my mood in the morning. And I'll wake up. I don't have my phone in my room, like it has to not be in there so that I don't like get tempted by it. And if I'm going to the gym one morning, I'll do breath work. So like I'll wake up, I use my iPad so I don't go onto like the phone because I don't have any like apps or anything I would check in the iPad. I go on YouTube, go on something called Breathe with Sandy, play like a 20-minute video, hyperventilate and hold my breath for 20 minutes. And that's good. If I'm going on a day like I'm going for a walk, like today was a walk day because I knew I had this conversation and I like to get my brain as like steady as I can if I've got an important conversation. So today I go for a walk, I have a very specific bench under an oak tree, and I just sit down and I initially begin to just like take deep breaths in and out. Eventually when I've taken some deep breaths, I try and breathe into a load of sensations within my body. So I just like breathe, feel like top of my head, and feel my eyes and my nose and my mouth. I go through it. I don't do it for like crazy amounts of time. It'd be great if I did, but I do it for maybe 10 minutes or something. I breathe in and out and it's pretty boring. But every time I open my eyes and my brain goes, nice, good job. Keep doing that.
Do you think it's important that if you're trying to encourage someone to meditate, it's not just breath work and stuff like that? Can you consider meditation? You know, we've talked about before, haven't we? Like spending time alone in a sauna, on a bike, just being with you and your thoughts.
Yeah, bro. That's an extremely good activity that we desperately need. And I'd almost see that as like low stim time over meditation. Like just like lower stim time for your brain to just calibrate. And there's this really fascinating thing with the brain where we have 2 main parts of our brain. We have the executive network, which is kind of at the front, and then we have this thing called the default network, which is a little bit further at the back. And executive network is active when you're like actively doing something, effectively, like scrolling your phone or talking to someone, or right now, like our executive networks are active. If you're working, it's active, playing sport. Then you have your default network that's effectively like your daydreaming network, where you just go into like wherever that land is of daydreaming. And for our ancestors, they would have constantly gone back and forth. Like we'll be hunting for a while and then we're just all going to like lie down and chill and look at the stars for a while and make a fire and like just chill out. Nowadays, we basically never go into this default network because few of us have time in a sauna or cycle without headphones in, for example. We don't get as much of this time. But interestingly, in research, you see that when the default network is active, your capacity to imagine a better future for yourself and then strategize how you get the future is actually found in the default network. So if you get into that place of just daydreaming, whether you try or don't try, the brain is basically biologically programmed to start thinking about your future and asking yourself deeper questions about like, what is my meaning in life? And all those like more important questions. And those moments where you sit in a sauna and you think, fuck, I'm pretty bored.
Video
minutes.
ideas in the shower. Like
Bro,
that genuinely, that's actually a thing, right? Is there a way of doing both at the same time?
Doing both areas of the brain?
Yeah. I only ask this because, say for when I did the Ironman, right? It's 12 hours long, and when I look back at it, like say the bike was 6 hours, no headphones. Well, the whole thing's no headphones, but like hours would just go by, and you're almost like like
a trance. Almost.
Yeah, almost. So you're physically exerting this effort, but your mind is almost looking after itself.
Yeah, like if it's really autonomous, the behavior. Like if it's very repetitive, it could, like in a football match, you wouldn't get default networks. You're just like constantly paying attention. Maybe like a goalie, if the team was dominating, could get some time chilling out. But in that situation, your brain's getting into repetitive action. Like if, for example, you try and drive like 30 minutes in a car and you've like been driving for years, you know how to drive, you will get towards default network. Like on the way here, like I was driving for a while with nothing on, and like my brain came up with my name of a video for tomorrow and stuff like that. It just randomly came through. And arguably with this quantum consciousness theory, it's actually in those quiet moments that the bigger thing in the world gets to talk to you, and we're not hearing the bigger thing.
I like that.
That's the only like what I mean, to put it into the sense that I was shown. Like that's when you're connecting to actually who you really are, and who you really are. Infinite love wants nothing but the best for you. So as in like love. And the thing is if you struggle to be with yourself quietly, not having any stimulation, just literally sitting and being, what might be trying to come through, maybe something that's actually in your best interest, but you don't want to accept. And that's where it can be difficult, because the most loving thing to do, maybe, oh shit, I need to be honest with myself about this thing that I'm doing all the time that I think I rely on that does not serve me. And I think that's where we find the discomfort. Not to mention as well, like if we're so used to being just like stimulated constantly, it's like, and we've not been with ourselves, like just with ourselves for a long time, it can be like the cavemen walking onto Piccadilly Circus. It's like, oh my God, this is so much coming through all at once that's really uncomfortable. Let me go back to my safe space. Even if that thing is ultimately making me suffer more, it's a place that I'm used to. So I'd rather be sitting in that discomfort that's actually hurting me than like maybe listen to what I need to hear that could actually help me out. So how would you say, like for people that are addicted, that are, you know, phone addicted, porn addicted, don't see meditating as like, oh, it sounds good, mate, but that's a bit boring. I can't be bothered to go to the tree, or I can't, like, breath work. What even is that? Which, by the way, Wim Hof has another good video. YouTube, just
I've watched it.
Yeah, it's 10 minutes. That's the one I do. It's class.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so
how would you say you communicate to people to actually make them feel like that's a good idea rather than just shut up, mate, that's boring?
I think you got to figure out what you care about at the moment, and that varies significantly throughout life. Like you might be in a period where you're like, I really want a girlfriend. Like it'd be really fun to have a girlfriend that I could connect with and like have sex with and hang out with, and that might be a priority, especially if you're like a younger teenage guy. That's often like quite a significant priority. Or you might be in a different window of time where you're like, I need a career and I need to generate more money. Or you might be thinking, I want to get fit and like get my body into shape. Like you have to find like what is the thing that you actually want to try and access. And then you have to kind of go backwards from there in order to think, how does this apply to getting that thing? Like for me, my almost like creative motive from maybe the age of like 21, 22 when I started to care was like, I really want to be a dad. Like that was my number one thing. It's like, I want to like have like loads of kids and like have a really cool wife that I really love. That was the thing. I was like, okay, how do I get that? And I grew up as a kid that was like shorter than other kids. And that was like a bit of a disadvantage in terms of dating. And I was like, oh, it's a bit annoying.
Can't relate.
And I remember thinking like, I really want like a 10 out of 10 girlfriend in all the ways of 10 out of 10. And then started to consider like, how am I going to get that? And I was thinking, okay, so I'm going to have to physically like be in decent shape. I'm going to have to get confident. I'm probably going to have to build somewhat of a career, because not from just like almost like a gold digger perspective from a girl, but she's going to look for resources. She's naturally going to want someone that can provide for those kids. And I almost backtracked it all to like, okay, so in order to get there, I'm going to have to get my head sorted out. I'm going to have to get focused. I'm going to have to get disciplined. Then something like meditation was something that was a key factor in order to get there. Because I was like, meditation, all the really successful people basically do it. So I was like, okay, I've got to try that. Or at least they've gone through a period of doing it. They might have done like a 10-day Vipassana retreat or whatever it might be. And then in the process of having the like reality moment of realizing the hardest decisions keep creating a better life for me, the meditation in the morning is like the hardest thing to commit to. And therefore I think it has so much for you to gain.
Would you say, like you personally, are you an overthinker?
Yeah, I would say I'm an overthinker. Like I definitely analyze.
Like even the way you just explained that, I thought that's so interesting. Like the complete opposite to me. Like you thought, this is my goal of what I want to do in life. What are the steps? And you started actually implementing it. And like I was overthinking everything.
Theo has no internal monologue, by the way.
Oh, there's no voice in your mind? Zero.
I can like talk
intentionally, but there's not just like a voice that like narrates life.
Yeah. Like when I was on the bike, for example, I would just like sing to myself a little bit, but time would just like go
Yeah, but
by.
that was singing out loud.
Did you used to have one?
I don't ever remember. Like, I think maybe that's why I
But
struggle
is
with
that
memory.
part of your memory though, and you can't
That may
remember
be
when you
part of-
did? Because like I wonder,
I struggle with
mate,
memory for sure.
I know it's obviously like slightly sensitive, but like, do you think there's been something in your life that has made you go, I need to actually block out my feelings or my what
No,
I'm
because I have
thinking?
feelings.
No, feelings. What I mean by that is like the thoughts that are going around in your head because they're actually like so painful that like you've actually trained your mind to not think, and actually you've shut off memory.
I don't think that's the case at all.
You don't think?
No.
Okay.
I think I've generally always struggled with memory and trying to like.
I don't remember you as that, by the way. Like, as in, you were always like well bright kid.
Have you known each other a long time?
Pardon?
You've
Yes,
known
since
each
year
other
seven.
School kids, like.
Yeah.
But like,
School kids, okay.
I'm still bright now.
No, by bright, I mean, as in like.
bright kid.
No, bright as in what I mean by that is in like these memory things that you're saying that you didn't have, whatever. I don't know.
But
I
still,
remember-
it's not like I don't have memories.
Mhm.
It's just I struggle to remember certain like details about
Okay.
things.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
we reminisced about school all the time this morning. Remember? You remember that?
Yeah, on the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
podcast we did.
But like, there's certain
It's
things
about
that I
an
just
hour and a
like.
half ago.
Certain things that I just struggle to remember. I guess I don't
Fair
know.
enough.
That could be ChatGPT getting you, because I'm noticing that for myself.
I
Like,
barely use ChatGPT.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That
I
ChatGPT is
I
going to get
genuinely
our
don't,
memories
yeah.
bad.
Again, it's one of those things, right? You say a lot of people are inherently bad. ChatGPT, blah blah blah. A lot of people use it just to learn.
Yeah, bro. Like it is a useful resource, and like I am using it. Like,
But you're
different,
relying
like,
on it
sales
too much.
components. Yeah, just there's components where you just don't let yourself think. Like, I'm writing my second book right now. Obviously, I could just like tell it the whole premise of everything I've said to you
Yeah.
and then say bang it out, and it could nail 80,000 words. But obviously, the process of me having to like really deeply think and remember different aspects is going to be quite important.
Yeah.
And you
We
have
spoke
that
about
across
this.
lots of situations. Like, things too fast don't give our brain time to catch up. It's like fast learning. Effectively.
Exactly. Last week we spoke about this on the podcast, and I said like
Okay.
people are gonna lose the art of learning how to learn.
Yeah, man.
Like
Yeah.
when I was at uni, literally like 5 years ago, if I needed to find something, granted I could go to the internet, but I had to trawl through.
Yeah, it was
fucking
effort. Looking
pages
through the
and pages,
papers and
or
stuff.
I had to go through a book or something. Mate, if I was at uni now,
Bro.
ChatGPT, and you're missing 80% of what you learn at uni
People-
if you don't
peop-
learn how
People
to learn
started
it.
using it for like wedding speeches.
That's sad.
Yeah.
isn't
I mean,
it?
that literally just sums it up. So like, I feel
That's
like when you're doing it
sad.
from yourself, again, little like
the soul.
love master over it, but like you're doing it with love. You talk, like you say, talking from the heart.
Yeah.
Like, it's true. Like you can put when you make something handmade, or you make
Mm.
things, or you talk from yourself. You're your own creator of what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's made with love. You can tell when something's made from ChatGPT because it feels empty. It is empty, and the fact that a wedding speech, which is literally meant to be with love, like, do you know what I mean? It sums it up. So like, I just found it can be a tool, but like with anything, literally anything, even exercise,
Yep.
you can use that to abuse yourself.
100%.
And I think that's what
Mm.
I found massively with like the yoga thing, right? Which actually like looks after your joints and your body, and it's actually endurance, and it is tough,
It's very hard.
but
yeah.
it's very good at actually looking after yourself. Mate, I've used exercise to harm myself for years and not even
Mm.
realized it. Harm my mind and my body. Like in terms of just like powerlifting, that's all about being as strong as I can. It's
Mhm.
I can do this, and you know, you summon all this like anger, and you're like, I'm exercising my demons, right? But really, I'd be
Feeding
walking,
them
I'd be
almost.
walking out that gym feeling even worse, and like coming out like I've probably hurt myself, become even tighter. I'm not flexible. I'm not getting full mobility. and
Train
I
with
think,
full range of motion.
yeah, like we can often think, bro,
That's true.
but we can think that like doing loads and loads of exercise and like, or loads and loads of work, like grafting, doing all these things, like actually can be used in an abusive way. Even like the spiritual stuff that I bang on about, you can start using that as a way to not be fully present and be like, no, we're just from up there. We're just from infinite love. But this isn't real. Like it's about engaging actually here as well. And yeah, very interesting.
Bro,
stuff.
this is the massive difference we have between being driven by dopamine or oxytocin, because in a situation like that with training, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the route of doing the heavy lifting might have been to like put on lots of size so you could look a certain way, or it might have been to achieve a certain number so that you could have that in your own mind or tell people that number. And that's where like the decision is being made down the dopamine lane, which is the ego effectively that lives within us. And I've done the exact same thing, man.
Yeah.
And then if a decision is made through the path of oxytocin, the decision is based on love, not based on like, how am I going to look? How am I going to come across? And that's such a monumental change in your life. Like if you wake up in the morning and you're sitting there and you wake up and you go towards the phone and you actually just ask yourself the kind of deep question, like, what does my heart want me to do in this moment? Your heart doesn't want you to obviously like bang loads of content or like have a wank in the morning. It doesn't want you to do that. It wants you to like go do a walk or like get a nice cup of tea, like sit on the sofa and chill out. And I found frequently asking yourself that question, what does your heart want? Like I've had this big situation recently where my partner's from Australia
G'day.
and I've had a lot of progress in my career over the last few years here in the UK, like going on the different shows and like the TV and stuff. And it's like, oh, fuck, like maybe I need to be here. Maybe that's like the important thing for like dopamine, effectively, for my success or finance or followers or whatever it may be. But then I can feel in my heart that like she's calling for her home, and Australia will be a beautiful place. And we've got this kid coming, and I've had to really like deeply think this through over the last 6 months of like, do I sacrifice an aspect of my career? I'm sure I can build my career there as well, but do I sacrifice what I have now, which is all this like dopamine success feeling, for her and for this baby? And that decision has had to be rooted in what does my heart want, not what does my head want.
I think that's the thing that can contribute to going the other way as well, is fear. So the scarcity, I've built all this up, this like, I can't do it. Like, what if I can't do it again?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's a question I need to ask yourself. It's like, am I doing this action, or is my desire for it out of scarcity, insecurity, fear, guilt, shame, like these low like feelings, or what am I doing it out of love, like you say? And I think like that can almost, for people that are like, is it my heart talking, or is it my head, or is it, something that doesn't serve me? I think the best way to figure that out is asking, what feeling is associated with it? Am I scared to lose my followers that I've built and my business that I've built? Am I scared of this, or am I guilty that someone has done this for me and I owe them? You know what I mean? Or is it that like, no, I love my wife, I love my child, and I absolutely want to do this out of love? Then boom, you have your answer.
Yeah,
right.
That's true.
So,
man.
or do I love myself? Is this serving me? Like you say, like, am I loving myself through doing this, or is it something that I'm doing, like needing to look strong at the gym so that other people are intimidated by me, because really I'm scared of them and I need them to be intimidated by me. So I need to prove myself so that I fit in or can beat them, or so to speak.
Right, it's true. And you can even ask that question on like a minor scale, even just with the phone. Like, because when you're going into the phone because you can't cope with like even eating your dinner in silence, and you're like, I have to watch content while I eat, like it's fear of the silence that's driving you into the phone. And if you say to yourself, like, do I love going on this phone? Like, is it love? Like, it's not love. It's just like, bang, I need like YouTube shorts to just like keep me distracted effectively.
Can you do anything for fun these days? I'm
Yeah,
talking about
bro.
I'm talking about like,
Bro.
everyone genuinely. Like, for example,
That's so fair. Let's go to that.
like, or are we thinking too much into everything? Can you go for a run because you enjoy it?
yeah,
Or
I mean, that would be the best run to go for.
Or are you now going for the run just to get this dopamine hit?
Now, it's a good question to ask. Like, I've been through that process of like, am I doing exercise for all those dopamine hits? And like, I was like Aura Ring and Whoop and tracking everything and all the numbers, and like, you can get stuck in that.
100%.
The dream scenario is you go for the run because you love the run,
Yeah.
and that is the oxytocin over the dopamine. You're not doing it for like data or some kind of reward or success. You're doing it just because it's a loving thing to do and it's something fun for you. And I think the challenge is, we are in such a difficult situation as a species that we have to now think deeply to get ourselves back out of it. Or maybe we just need to like get super connected to nature, and nature will just give us the wisdom to get back out of it. But currently, I think if we just go blind forward, I think 10 years from now is all of us like sitting with headsets on, having sex with robots. I literally think that's what's basically to go.
I think you're just going to end up there no matter what.
No, but you're
brother.
He's not saying you're going to die.
Don't just
He's saying
accept
in
it.
10 years your life could be so vastly
No, I'm saying,
and
I think
so bad and so disconnected from the reality that is around you.
I think there'll be people like that. I almost think there'll be two kinds of people.
Yeah, there will.
There'll be
but-
the people,
Bro, someone
that love
predicted this.
themselves and the people that don't. Essentially, that's what it comes down to. And
Yeah.
the thing, the reason why he's saying, and to you, it probably comes of like you're deeping it. It's because like,
you have to.
you're so far in this mess that you have to deep it. You have to think about it to get out of
to
it.
save those.
And
other
we didn't
people.
get ourselves in the mess.
but
We've been born into an environment where
Right.
we've been programmed into a mess,
Yeah.
and it's up to us to actually figure out the game.
But the
plan
reason
back
why
out.
we've been born into this is because we can align with love still.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
the reason why we're in this day and age, it's not just like to be a victim of it, but it's because there is a way out of it. Because that is what we actually are, and that is the whole reason behind it.
you might not realize that we're in this mess. I'm not saying it's just you in it. We're all in it.
Yeah.
Me included.
And
but
me.
we are in it. Like life, how we live life now is a mess compared to how we should be living life.
It
That's-
is.
How
that's
should
the
we be
point.
living life?
Are you telling me?
I'm asking how we should be. Should we all?
We've just spent about an hour talking about
Yeah.
it.
No, but like,
No, we could
But
go
how
like
do you-
a good daily
how do
routine
you- how
if
do you-
we
how
want
do
to
you-
structure
Yeah,
it out.
yeah, I would love
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
And
That
talk
was one
about
of
the
Chemicals and everything.
that was
and
one
all
of the
the-
things I
the
was most
actions.
excited
the actions.
Let's do it.
I'd love
To-
to know about that.
to hear about from you, because
Yeah.
particularly phone addiction, like, and I wanted to hear about all of it, but you know, how do I stop going on my phone so
Yeah.
much?
Because those actions you had written down earlier, I thought were fascinating.
Let's figure out how we're
Yeah.
going to get them in. So the first action on that whole sheet, for everyone listening, it's basically there's 20 things we have to do for our brain chemistry. And the first action in all of it is called phone fasting. This is the first step to get your dopamine beginning to activate in the correct way. We obviously have heard a lot about fasting from food. We have to develop a consistent practice where we fast from the phone. Step one in that journey is to not go on the phone as soon as we wake. And like for some people, that's like obvious. For many, that's just definitely not the reality. And the reason this is so important is when our brain wakes up, it looks for dopamine. For our ancestors, they were looking like restart the fire, rebuild the shelter, get the food going, get outdoors, check the kids are okay. And they were looking for something that was effortful to give them reward. That's how our brain is programmed. And if it wakes up and it's like bang straight into the phone, it thinks that's the reward for the day. It's like, oh, cool. Like this is going to be my reward. And if you, for example, with those boys in the Hadza, like if you went and gave them like Krispy Kreme donuts every morning for like a couple months, can you imagine how depressed and lazy they would get? Because they'd be like, I've got my reward. I don't need any other reward. And the phone for our brain chemistry is the same as the Krispy Kreme donut. So we got to start charging the phone, ideally outside the room. And I know it's so hard. Like you get in bed, oh, it's so boring. Like, oh, it's so difficult. But you just do it for a couple nights, then you're like, oh shit, like my life's a little bit better with my phone outside this bedroom. And it is hard. Like you lie in bed for a little bit longer and you have to think a little bit longer to get to sleep. Then once the alarm could play outside the room and you would hear it and it would get you
alarm
up.
clock.
You could get
I'm
like,
just trying to think of like I'm playing devil's advocate.
no bro,
It's like,
devil's
to
advocate
play,
the
like,
whole thing.
fully.
Let's bring the devil
like,
in.
Of course he's devil's advocate.
You're talking about like someone in London has to get up at 6 a.m.
No, bro, it's
Do you know
fair.
what I mean?
It's fair. So you could use you could use an iPad as an alarm. They're less addictive. You could use your phone like the other side of the bedroom, just so it's not by your head.
Yeah.
You could get like a sunrise alarm
watch.
clock. The watch.
Breaks me awake.
Beautiful. I got
Exactly.
those straps on. keep us clinged in. And then then you wake up and the whole goal is like, how can I not access quick dopamine for 30 minutes? And that's hard. Like it's not like bang, done, solved. Like you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be like, wow, 30 minutes is a long way away. If you're like, oh, I probably need to have a shower this morning. So like, I'm just gonna I'm gonna have my shower, or I'm gonna splash cold water on my face. If like you're really like depressed and not getting a lot done in your life, it'd be very useful if you turn the shower cold, because it's going to like ignite some dopamine and some energy
Or jump in the
within
sea.
you.
Or
Jumping in
Theo
the
now,
Theo,
yeah.
I mean,
Bro,
Theo
jumping in the sea
does
would
that
be
every
good.
morning at 7 a.m.
Oh,
Yeah.
mate.
It's
Oh, in
amazing.
Brighton.
Eastbourne.
Well,
Seaford.
Seaford.
It's like right near Brighton, basically.
Man, that's getting loads of it, because you're having to like get out, you're getting sunlight,
That's
you're getting
class.
something
Yeah.
challenging,
I
getting
did it-
movement. You're getting dosed at that
I
point.
did it as a little challenge for like my Instagram or like TikTok as well.
Okay, cool.
And now I've just kind of integrated it into my life.
Man, it's cool. And the brain is very clever at telling you to keep doing the things that are advantageous to your long-term survival effectively.
Yeah.
And that, although it's not like long-term survival, like it's making you a more driven person, it's going to be motivating you, and then you make better decisions.
I feel the effects from it.
I wonder if you did it without ever going on your phone before.
That'd be good.
Like, see what
that's
that
what
does.
I did on the 7 days.
Oh,
I didn't use my phone before, other than to make sure Ollie was still coming. I'd be like, right, Ollie's,
And then back
Yes.
out.
and then it would be it would literally be to check if I had a text.
Yeah, and that's cool. And that's where the second component of this is getting the phone black and white actually is revolutionary. Like you can put the phone onto black and white. If you go on settings and you
I
search,
put a red filter over
the
it.
red is
Do you
good
reckon
from
that's
like a
even better?
melatonin point of view, but the black and white's definitely number
Oh,
one.
That's not the
okay,
same as like
Like the
night
red you
mode.
wouldn't even need if it was in black and white.
Yeah, I think that
Nah, it
makes
looks
total
like an old
sense.
TV. If my phone's over there, but like if I show you right now, it's all my phone lives on black and white, unless I'm like having to post something and I have to just like check some colors, and then it'll go back onto black and white. And if you go into settings and put color filters, you just search color filters, it will appear and you'll figure it out. It's pretty easy to put it on.
Wow.
And that basically drains out all the dopamine that lives within your phone. Like if you try and scroll social media on black and white, it's absolute shit. Like it's only
Well, really,
exciting
so the
to us.
stimulation is
It's
only in the colours.
Colours.
In the
bold,
colour.
isn't it?
So it's not what making you think about. So say if you're watching someone get like, I don't know, like beheaded on X.
That will also activate a good fear response that will
Okay.
like get your attention.
Right.
Like we're programmed to definitely look out for that happening.
That's what's literally on X now.
Bro,
isn't it,
X is
by
in,
the way?
yeah. You,
Surely it only feeds you what you are clicking
No,
on.
it goes, you're a male.
Yeah,
Yeah,
between
but
18 and 25 or 30,
annoyingly it's-
boom, you're getting this.
and it's hard to look away because it activates
Tits
some
and arse
weird
as well.
like,
I don't get that.
They'll get
A
you
lot of
too.
I don't get either.
The kids, tits and arse of the heading.
You fucking
Yeah.
You gotta
do.
reduce that. It's important. But effectively, evolutionarily, we're programmed to look for bright color within nature because it meant fruit and
Right.
food and all kinds of resources that were really useful for us. And the phones are upped in terms of their saturation because it makes them more addictive.
Got you. So just to add to that, is
Yeah.
it that you, like, I don't want people to then think, oh, if I put my phone in black and white, I can then still just sit on TikTok all day and be okay. Are you saying that still you should stay off your phone even if
100%.
it's on black and white?
The majority of the majority of the dopamine is actually released through novelty. It's of curiosity of what might be next. It's actually not in the video you're watching. It's in what might be the next video. The curiosity of what might be is what actually motivates us. Like that's what motivates us to like, maybe there's a deer out there today. So the novelty of it might be there is what's going to drive us to go and consider finding it. And that's why like the phone addiction changed so much with the short video feed. Like you remember like Instagram when you were a teenager, like it was like kind of fun.
You could
to be
scroll
honest.
to the bottom.
You look,
and that's it. You couldn't go any
That's
further.
it for the day. Yeah.
Yeah, and then your dopamine was like, I don't need any more. Like it was like, cool, I'm done. You're back out because there's no unlimited novelty. So, in answer to your question, the color is a component, but the novelty is massive. I would say though that interestingly, if you have it on black and white and you try and bang TikTok, after 10 minutes you won't even be able to take it anymore. You'll be like, I got to leave. Like, it's too boring. It's literally so boring.
That's amazing. What a hack.
Yeah, that's a big hack. So we're gonna
30 minutes, no phone.
We're gonna put the phone onto black and white, and that's super useful. If you've got to use it in the morning to text someone to check they're going in the water, that'd be a good idea. If you've got to meditate and use an app, like the black and white is just gonna really help from that point of view. Then throughout your day, your big goal is like consistently re-adding these quote unquote phone fasts by physically separating from the phone more frequently. So like often we only go on the phone because it's right next to us the whole time. Like even throughout this session, because I just mentioned the black and white thing, I actually would have gone on my phone right then to have shown you. And that would have then led to me seeing a quick notification, and then I would have been in the phone. The reason I put the phone down there was because I need to make sure I'm physically separated from it. And all day I'm thinking about this. When I sit down to work, when I go to the toilet, when I watch TV, when I eat my food, I'm constantly putting the phone far away from me so that when my just like subconscious brain that's not going to think switches on, I'm not just going to like compulsively pick it up. So that's kind of step 3. So we're going to reduce it in the morning, we're going to black and white it, and then we're going to physically separate from it way more throughout the day.
How many times do you actually go like at this time, or is how much do you allow yourself to like have it on your person? Like how do you do it?
Yeah, so I make sure that there's a screen time widget on my home screen at all times. So every time I open the phone, I see the number. So I'm getting some base of a reminder all the time as to how much I've been using it. Because when you, for example, like drink booze, when you go to the bathroom on your own, you like walk there and you're like a little bit pissed, and you like look at yourself in the mirror, and like sometimes you talk to yourself if you're really pissed. And in your brain, you're constantly like calculating how many drinks you've had. You're like, oh, I've had like 4, or maybe I've had like 8, or like maybe you reach a point where you run out of being able to count. But initially, you got some idea how much you got. With the phone, it does not work like that. We don't have ability to calculate like how much time. Like if, for example, right now, you ask yourself, I wonder how much I've had. And then you go, look, I guarantee the numbers will be so different, and it'll probably be so much more than you think it is. So I put that number there. So every time I open it, it's like, okay, so I've had this much. And I'll show you afterwards. I average like 90 minutes a day, which is pretty low. Like
you don't use
and I run a social media account, and I run my whole business.
You
like
don't use
Slack,
Google Maps.
I don't use Google Maps. So that would definitely not be bad for you. Google Maps. Like Google Maps would be useful.
Apple CarPlay.
Yeah.
Is that technically your phone?
It's not going to count your screen time. They're not going to count it. So then I'm getting reminded, and it's just like a conscious moment. Like if I'm going for a coffee with my partner, I actually don't drink coffee anymore because that's like a part of the journey.
Mate, it's true. Like, that's why.
That's a progressive part. Like, if you want to bang coffee, keep banging coffee. That's like at the other end of the things to
Not
solve.
banging coffee.
I think you think we're saying like ban anything you enjoy. That's not actually what it is.
No, it's that you'd actually enjoy life more without it.
Yeah.
But it's an annoying journey to go on.
not
Like,
being
I would have
yeah.
listened to that a few years and been like, "Fuck you," for
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I would have.
Yeah,
So like, I get where you might be at. But it's not that I'm going like, okay, so now here's my 30 minutes where I'm allowed on. It's just I'll frequently put it away from me. So naturally the number is much lower. And I think we've built one of those screen time apps, which is like ridiculously useful to block all the apps out. It's called Roots. Not to plug it, but like, it's a good app and it will help. And
You can plug it, that's fine.
yeah, it's freaking good. Like I only started working with them and built the whole thing because you have to have Instagram blocked. Like you can't have it tempting to go on it. It needs to be blocked so that you have to get through this like breathing process to be able to get in. It just reduces the frequency of the opens. So I'd say that's an important step.
You know the coffee thing?
Yeah, let's go to the coffee thing. Those
I
are
am
crucial
intrigued by
steps
that
for the phone, by the way. So if you get that right, you're going to be in a good place.
There are a lot of people who are definitely addicted. You know, they have like 5, 6 coffee. They rely on it heavily.
Oh, yeah, man.
There's also a lot of people who have a nice morning coffee.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
a
there's
nice-
people
a nice
before
flat
phones
white.
before phones even existed.
Oh, yeah.
People would drink coffee. It's a coffee bean is natural.
Yeah.
A mushroom is natural.
But don't equate everything to addiction. I think a lot of this is not necessarily that you're addicted to that, but it's if you removed it from your life, it would improve.
Well, I lived 20 years.
Yeah, that's a fair
I lived
question.
20 years of my life no coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd say my life's got better since I turned 20.
Yeah, but that's because you got rich and famous.
I'd
That
ask you,
would
like,
be
why do
good.
you feel like you couldn't have the coffee? Because what I'd say is,
I,
like,
do,
why
I,
would
ha-
you?
I can feel like I don't have coffee.
Okay, so why?
I love the taste of it.
Okay, so why can't you have decaf?
Is a
I do have
is a
decaf.
decaf a good swap?
I've got decaf.
Yeah, great. So I do
Okay, so
sometimes
what
have one
is
of
the
them.
point you're
Okay.
making then?
I
My
have one
point
of
is,
them today.
like, there's like you guys, for example, you just said your life would be much happier if you don't drink coffee.
That is a big statement, but the
Without paraphrasing, you did.
that
just
is
say
arguably that is arguably what maybe I did say that. To be fair, I think
Like I look at
Your natural
The-
energy levels, as in your actual vitality, your actual like I feel fucking class, would go up if you didn't have coffee. Over time, and you actually and you loved yourself,
like
and
monumentally.
you
as
did the
well.
right things, as in like ate the right things and
Mhm.
loved yourself. You would realize the reason why I was having coffee is to give me that 5%. Now I've got the extra 85%. Why the fuck do I need that? If anything, that just gives me a little
But
crash.
say that to
crash.
the endurance athlete who is
Yeah.
Yeah, but
relying
you're
on
talking
caffeine.
about performance, and that's performance
does add a
enhancing
different-
drugs essentially. Like that is what caffeine actually is. It's a performance enhancing drug in that instance, and it's the day to day. So you're talking about like just a morning coffee, just like that's not performance. So that's why I'd ask you. I'm like, what do you need? Not just the coffee, but anything that's external, that's not already within you.
But is it okay to have it decaf?
Why do you need
Yeah,
that?
right.
Why do you need to have it every day? And why can't you live without it? What is that got you almost enslaved by if you can't go without it?
I personally just enjoy it. Like, I'll have decaf
Yeah.
if that's.
Yeah, so
allowed,
decaf.
I do have decaf. Like I have decaf at home as well. I think, start the day off with something nice. It's nice, like a nice morning coffee. Like,
So
Yeah,
it's
and
the
that's
morning
so fair, man.
dopamine,
Like
essentially.
but is that wrong?
I really
Is that
love the
bad?
coffee too. Like when
love coffee, by the
when
way.
I described
I know.
before that I went over on that date in Australia to meet Georgia, we like really bonded over the idea of getting like coffees together. We thought it'd be fun, like find really nice coffee shops and like sit there and chat and like get to know each other. And like I'd go on Google Maps to try and find like really high rated coffees. And it was like the moment of the day was finding the coffee. So like I relate to it. And I drank 2 flat whites a day for like 5 years. And those 2 moments at like 10 o'clock and like 1 p.m, they were magical for me. So like I get
Like-
the desire.
For example, for me personally, like going on a morning bike ride, go out in nature, and then sitting down with your friend over a cup of coffee and a cinnamon bun.
Yeah.
That inherently, like
And a quick
all
hit
of
of the vape.
this is bad for you. Sugar, caffeine.
There are
But
tiers
actually,
to it.
I would say doing that is way better for you.
Okay,
way better.
why?
The
Being
not doing
social,
it.
being out in nature, sitting down and chatting over something.
Yeah, so the things that you've said are the things that are loving. You can do that without the shit that's hurting you. You can get those things without that. It's almost like you go, yeah, love myself, and then the devil gone, right, but we're going to bring you
but
back
I
in.
personally don't see a cinnamon bun in a coffee as the devil.
I know, but that's how the devil gets you. Honestly, I know that's how it
But
works.
I don't believe in the devil.
That's okay.
But there is a.
Do you know what I mean?
Like
Like,
you
who's
say,
to
there's
say
a sliding scale
I'm not
here.
Yeah,
I'm not
this
right
is
or wrong, and
important.
neither are you right or wrong. Do you see what I'm saying?
It's not about being right or wrong, and I understand that's how it can come across. That is the main way of how, like, me trying to share the message that I've literally seen, and how obviously like our friend here has seen.
Mm.
It's like it can come across as though I'm trying to tell you what to do, and that's
No,
going
I
to
know,
make you
I
just
know.
go nope. But really, mate, I'm trying to show you love right now, and I'm trying to be like encourage you to love yourself
I do
and-
love myself.
and like
That's
see what you're doing to yourself. And I think that's the difficult thing. I can't make you. It's not my role to even live your life for you and try and convince you of anything. It's up to you. And either you learn now or you learn when you get older, and you'll have health problems, and it will come out one way or the other. I know that's what's mental, but it's
That's
like
fair.
it's like it comes out. You have to learn the lesson one way or another.
I completely hear what you're saying. I just think that if you do a bike ride Saturday morning, you get out, be healthy, and you sit down and have a whatever sweet treat or a coffee, or you even have sourdough and eggs, like whole foods, I think that's a positive.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
But you've said it having something that's like loving you, which is like freaking.
But you
good
said
stuff.
then you're gonna have health problems later on.
No, but if you're smashing every time that you go and do like a bike ride,
the
you're
fittest
having,
people on
look,
earth.
Yeah, but it's not about being the fittest. I'm saying, like,
Yeah,
just
but
let
you
me
say-
answer this bit, ready? So you've just said, you've just completely switched it up and gone, instead of having the shit, have something that's actually good for you. Obviously, having the thing that's good for you is class, but the thing that you're actually enjoying out of that whole thing, mate, is connecting to people and actually having a moment
100%.
and a reward at the end of it. That's what you're actually saying, but as in, like, you're fixated on this idea that goodness and that enjoyment can only come from something that's putting shit in
But
your body.
I completely understand. I think you have to find the right balance, right?
Mhm.
But you look at some of the fittest people in the world. Christian Blumenfeld, the fittest athlete in the world, is the Ironman world champion. He's incredible. So much sugar.
Bro, but the thing is, it's fitness is an interesting one. Fitness doesn't necessarily equate to like peace and like longevity and feeling like really happy for a long time. Like I even had my uncle, who was like a super cool dude. He was actually the fastest over 60-year-old in the world for 60 meters and 200.
That's amazing.
Which is really cool. And
Yeah.
he won at 61 years old this race. And very sadly, and not to make this go really deep, but very sadly he died then at 63, which is like fucking savage. And he was like this dude that ate perfect, super shredded, and he was like super fit. But his body was under too much stress from that part. So like it's hard to learn from someone that's just pure fitness, because it's like his being might not actually be at peace. And
yeah,
like
because some people might go like, oh, this person's a really amazing performer. They are performing the most.
Yes,
and
I've
like
got to copy
getting the
them.
best scores and everything, and they're having all of this stuff. So therefore, I should be able to have that, and I'm then like loving myself. But I'm telling you, mate, like you'll know deep down. I think that's like what it comes down to. Like these people do die early, or have health problems, or
Yeah,
have like,
sad.
heart or organ failure or whatever, because like like there is an unnatural stress, and I think that's what I realized regarding the whole like yoga thing. It's like it's humbling. Obviously, it's difficult. I can't. It's not it's not my idea of fun. But like
It's hard,
that
though.
other type of exercise that I was doing was actually like hurting me, and I think like that's the thing. Like that's what I ask. I'd ask the people that are trying to achieve that goal, what are you getting validated by achieving that, by being the best? What are you getting from it? I'm not saying people shouldn't have goals and shouldn't achieve great things if they're like wanting to do that and they feel that that's like in their nature and what they want to do. Go for it. But in terms of like what you're willing to do to your body in order to get a certain goal, I'd ask, what are you getting out of that goal that makes that self-harm in a way so worth it? Like what validation is there? What am I now saying that my self-worth is attaining from that? Do you get me?
I 100% get you. This is not my opinion, but to play devil's advocate, what do you say to the guys that...
you said the devil's not real, and you
Yeah, like,
you
like,
keep calling
I'm saying,
yourself
Anyway,
the
say a
devil.
player word. Like,
No, it's
yeah.
not playing away me. Like, it's, yeah, it is what
No,
you're
no,
saying.
play it like hit
Devil's
it.
advocate is playing on words.
Yeah,
like,
it is for
whatever,
sure.
like-
It is.
Okay.
what would you say to those guys then who push their bodies like you're saying and are harming themselves, but walk away with gold medals, Olympic gold medals? Is Olympic gold medal meaningless?
No, it's magic.
No,
mate.
it's-
It's like
it's-
extreme
It's like amazing.
effort over time to earn an amazing reward. Like it's not that being fit is really bad. Like that's a
Is there a
phenomenal.
fine balance?
Yeah, that's a phenomenal thing to achieve, and it's just depending on what the goal is we're looking towards here right now. Because if the goal is like to just like win gold medals, that's a great goal, and like you could build a really cool life doing that. You could be financially successful. You could like maybe really happy, really social, really fit. Like so, that's all a really cool goal. But the goal when it comes to like the coffee thing, just to bring it back to that, is like if your goal at the moment is just to continue living the exact life you're living, that's cool. Like keep cruising along in that life. But if you're someone that's thinking like super addicted to my phone, like I'm fucked with the porn, I'm really eating loads of sugar, and I'm really overstimulated, and you're struggling with like this constant feeling like I need to stimulate myself, otherwise I don't feel good. Coffee is just another thing in there that's fueling that challenge that you're facing in your life. And if the coffee came out of the situation, suddenly you'd have more moments where you're a bit slower, and then you don't crave the phone as much, you don't crave the sugar as much. So it depends like what the goal is.
Depends who you are.
Coffee is
and what
not
your
like
goal is.
inherently bad for you. Like, people drink coffee for ages, and like coffee can be cool. It can be a ritual. It can be social. It's more just depending like where are you, like where's your North Star at the moment. And if the North Star is to like chill yourself out and get focused and build a better life for yourself, reducing a few of these stimulating things is good. And as I say, there's a big sliding scale. Like coffee's definitely one of the later priorities over like the porn that would be this end.
But for someone who is looking to change,
Yeah,
who's looking to become part of this, that is one of the steps.
But
it's one of the
there-
later steps.
yeah.
there is still that argument that none of us are living kind of naturally how we should be.
Mm.
I don't think anyone
I
is.
guess it's like
No.
the intention
Nah.
behind it. So if I'm like totally sound and I'm not experiencing this where no one's looking, like spates of like anxiety, depression, like where like, you know, life's trying to communicate to you like you're not in alignment right now. If you're actually totally sweet and you're using this coffee in a way that's like you're not experiencing any badness and it is just working for you, fantastic. But I just say like if you're thinking that I need that to give me energy, where are you lacking energy from? Why don't you have that energy? Because it's all there for you to have, like, without that. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that little 5% that it gives you in the morning, or that, like, nice feeling, it's like, depending on it, like, feeling like without that, like, I don't have energy. It's like, the intention is everything. Why am I doing this?
And it's also just cool to be open-minded to experimenting.
Mm.
Like the experiments you may run, you might like try, for example, not going on your phone every morning for a week and think my life is worse, so I should go on my phone every morning, like when I wake up.
Yeah.
Or you might discover that your life's way better. And I think it's just cool to be open to just being like, all right, I'm gonna try this on my phone. I'm gonna try like not watch the porn for a few days, just see if it does anything. and then let your own system guide you, because our systems will guide us. And then like if you do run the experiments, it's very likely some of them are going to really help. And then it's like, oh, cool. And then it feels like it's come from within as well, because I hated school because I hated like being commanded by others. Like that just didn't work. And I had parents that were like really, really chilled out. So that when I was at school, I was like, why are you telling me what to do? Like I can do what I want to do. And for any of this conversation to come across like, you should all do this, you should not watch porn. Like if I was the one listening, I'd be like, fuck you guys, I'm going to watch more porn then.
Yeah.
So like, it's really important that the ideas in the conversation just like run around in your mind. You think, oh, something feels right. Like maybe it's like, I'm going to watch their short videos or whatever it might be. And then you just like run the experiment and like, just listen to your own guidance. Don't listen to any of us, basically.
I actually had no coffee on Saturday.
Let's go.
That's right, mate.
So aside from the phone and the porn and
Yeah.
like the more obvious things, like what other things that people could implement in their daily routine, how they live to achieve this homeostasis, this like good feeling.
Homeostasis.
That's what it is, like homeostasis of just like
Osmosis.
operating, like osmosis and stuff. No, but do you know what I mean?
No,
It's
it
like,
is homeostasis.
Yeah, it's just
Osmosis is like learning
yeah,
from
it's
something.
water. But like,
Moving the water through a
just like
partially permeable membrane.
There you go.
Yeah,
School
of-
was good.
of like
Yes.
living in like peaceful way, the loving
right.
way. Like what else can we do?
I would say one of the most important steps in all this is actually this flow state idea. So like we need some flow state, especially as men, but as all women and men. But men would have spent like hours out there, like deeply focusing on the hunting and then like trying to construct something for ages. And flow state is immense for our dopamine. You generate natural dopamine in abundance when you're in these flow states. And flow state was discovered by this guy called Csikszentmihalyi, who was like observing like musicians and athletes and artists. And he was seeing like there would be this moment about like 15 to 20 minutes into a task where someone's performance would begin to rise. And when you watch like football, for example, first 10 minutes, like obviously they're insane, these Premier League footballers, but there'll be this moment where their brain is suddenly in and then they enter these flow states, but they don't get in it in 1 second. It takes a little bit of time for their brain just to tune into the environment. And we now spend very little time as men, as people like in flow state, because like everything's just so distracting. Like this conversation, for example, is actually quite good for our brains from a flow state perspective, because none of us can like go on our phones and check loads of other stuff. But when you are working, typically like you do a little bit of something, then you stop, a little bit of something, stop, and you never access that deep flow state. And there's a really clear way that we can actually find out what it is, basically, what our unique flow state is, because it's not the same for all.
Is that why sport and exercise is quite important?
Right, yeah, like sport,
Because
especially,
accessing that flow state.
Interestingly, you might actually get more flow state from sport because there's more of like an objective, like
Yeah.
like the hunters.
Yeah.
Like flow state from just like going and doing like push-pull legs is actually like harder to access because it's like a little bit more monotonous. You could get it from, especially if you're really into the gym, like you might get some flow state from that. But yeah, those environments where your brain is just locked in and almost like all your analysis and like the overthinking just like disappears. It doesn't really exist when
Just
you're in
happens,
flow
doesn't
state.
it? It just
You just
goes.
like go into
Yeah.
like this amazing autopilot that we need to access more frequently.
So how can we find out what is our flow state and how can we access it without artificial means? And I think that's why I used to use caffeine. By the way, massive.
Yeah, true.
I was a caffeine addict, Malfoy.
Yeah.
Seriously, but then also trying to have it just normally once a day.
You'd almost
And for
overthink
me-
it, wouldn't you?
Not overthink it, mate. I'd just be aware of what it's doing to me and just like appreciate rather than avoid it. I'd go,
Remember
oh wait, this is actually
Some
happening.
recordings, you'd be like, shit, I need to get this coffee.
Well, it come. I guess
We're
I
so
would-
similar.
I would
weird.
associate. That's the thing. Like I'd associate
Dopamine
like
chasers.
me doing a good show, me getting into my giggly,
With the
funny
caffeine,
state
yeah.
with having caffeine beforehand. It's like, well, obviously we're very habitual, and that would get me in that flow state where I'm not,
Yeah, I
I'm fully
understand.
able to lock in. And I think that's, especially at the gym, people would use caffeine as that so I can focus and just, sports as well.
Yeah.
So I can focus and get into flow state. But I'd love to know what you think are ways that we can find our own way of getting that naturally.
Yeah. So flow state, as I say, is a deep immersion in a task. We get locked in on it. And for each individual person, this is going to be very different. Like for someone, it might be editing videos. It's like their flow state and they get deep into focus. For another person, it might be something to do with art. Like they might be drawing or painting. For another person, it might be sport. For another person, it might be hiking mountains. For another person, it might be reading books, cleaning their house. Like it can be anything, cooking food. The great experiment to run with yourself, and this requires some use of artificial dopamine to actually find this answer,
Okay.
but we're all in there anyway, so let's just use it for some kind of good. If you were to look at your social media feed and begin to scroll the videos, there'll be repetitive patterns in those feeds. And I was at dinner the other day with my friend Zach, and he was like scrolling his Instagram reels while we were at this restaurant. And obviously I care about these topics. So I'm like, what is it that you love to scroll on there? And He's like, I love watching the cooking videos. Like I love watching them buy the food, cook the food, eat the food. Like that's a big niche of the internet, is watching this food content world. And I asked him the question, like, do you ever like go out and like cook yourself really nice food? And he was like, nah, not really. Like I just like order food or like microwave meals or whatever it might be. And in that situation, he's actually watching other people engage with what could be his flow state rather than doing it. And in the modern world, because we're not bored anymore, because we got loads to do in the evenings by scrolling the phones, I mean, because there's not nothing to do like when we were kids, you'll just naturally scroll the feed, and then gradually your feed will begin to tune itself to what you would actually be good at doing potentially. But rather than doing it anymore, you just watch it. Like we might watch loads of sports highlights, but never actually go and play football anymore. And that's a tricky thing for our brains. So if, for example, tonight you watch the feed and you begin to see like, what is the repetitive pattern in here? And is there something in here I could actually do and learn to get good at? And your flow state lies within there. And if you were to actively do it rather than passively watch it, that's where the natural dopamine would be generated.
Okay, so basically what you're interested in is a reflection of what might be your flow state.
100%.
So you could actually not just seeing it on the phone, so that's a quick way to do it, but what if you're thinking of like what's something that you could go and watch, or like what's something you just like, that could be an indication in itself. So Luke liking cars, maybe something him around driving cars could actually be something that's fun for him.
Would you say
actually
you're
learning to race cars?
And
or
is
something.
cars like a big thing for you?
My biggest thing is guitar.
Biggest thing is guitar.
is guitar
but
your
I-
feed?
But I do also love I love like F1.
What is more your feed though?
Cars or guitar?
My feed is primarily guitar,
Interesting.
some boobs.
You're playing.
Some boobs.
Yeah, 'cause imagine
we got to
it's
get
just like, oh, all that's coming up is girls.
my flow state is shagging.
But
Well, it might, it might be. There is flow state in shagging for sure.
Oh my god, you.
But then you need to actually go and have the sex and
The
not
almost
watch the tits. But that's a good indicator. Like if you're looking at it, you think, fuck, there's so many girls in here. And then you ask yourself, like, when did I last have like a loving experience with a girl? Maybe it's like, right, I put the phone down and I'm going to take the actions that are going to get me some love.
Well, I mean, definitely experienced that as well. This is the other thing. I'd like to know if you've been addicted to pornography and whatnot.
Yeah.
The actual concept around like sex and lust, and if that you feel that's just an innately a bad thing, or if it's a good thing, or do you still experience like, you know, ways in which you want to, explore and like understand yourself in a sexual way? And maybe is that tied to why you were so addicted from young?
Yeah. I mean, sexual desire is like a natural thing. Like none of us would be here without sexual desire. Like it's arguably number one. Like it's basically the most important thing. Acquiring food so that we could stay alive long enough to have the babies was basically the whole process of life. And I would say it's something that can be harnessed and be a powerful energy that can motivate you towards good decisions, like trying to get like fit or strong or successful or whatever it might be that you feel could help you attain the experience of connecting with a girl. Even like going on YouTube and watching videos of how to communicate and becoming a good communicator so that you'd be better at attaining the sex would be a better path for you. But then obviously in the modern world, it's the thing that's got abused. Like there's obviously a reason porn is free and so accessible. Like it's really like weakening us as a species, the men. It's very useful to obviously have men that like, oh, I can't bother to do anything. And I think it's just important to like feel into that energy of like, if I'm looking at all these tits on Instagram, like maybe I should try and actually find some real ones. And that could be a big change. Like that question of like, how do I get the real ones? And that might require a number of steps. And not mean just like go bang Tinder for ages. But like, how do I get like a girl that I can experience like love with? Because there's a huge difference for a man when you're having sex with someone you have no interest in and you're like really drunk, maybe you can't even really get it up and you're like, oh, this is how, like that's not like, wow, that was so amazingly rewarding. But then when you're falling in love with a girl and it's like, oh, this is magic, and like having sex there and she's having a good time and you're not just like shagging her like they do in porn, but you're actually like intimately giving her love, that will make you feel so rewarded. Your brain will be like, good job. And we need to use the tits on the Instagram to motivate us towards the real thing.
I'd like to ask you, would you say you're quite a creative person?
I think I've discovered I'm creative more as an adult. Like as a kid, like I wouldn't say I was the really creative kid because I thought I was really dumb as a kid.
Okay.
But then as I've got older over like the last 5 years, like even though all that design stuff I just showed you, like I designed all that and I like discovered that I love like all that artistic design, visual stuff. So I think I've become more creative.
Interesting, because obviously like our sexual energy is our creative energy, right? It's literally
interesting.
creation. So I wonder if those people that maybe are like more creative, as maybe you've discovered, may be more susceptible to being addicted to the like sexual stuff and have lust really high, because actually they've got a really big creative energy and they're just not utilizing it.
Yeah.
So perhaps when
It's
you were
going,
in
like,
school
untapped.
and you weren't tapping into it.
And I was
since
watching
you've
loads
stopped,
of porn.
Exactly. And now you've like stopped that and allowed it to come through. And now you're using that creativity to literally help the world, firstly. Like help people in a way through your creativity, because you're communicating a very like common message really, which is, mate, love yourself.
Yeah.
But you've done it in such a creative way that's so like unique, and you've allowed that to come through. And I wonder if like I sit there and almost like evaluate myself. Obviously I understand that I'm very creative, but I like probably my biggest like kryptonite would be like, sex, lust, that, and going down that path and succumbing to that really switches off all of my creativity. So I wonder if like, just hearing your
almost like
it
almost uses up the resource.
Yeah.
And it's like, I got this resource. And that's why I communicate this, like the porn thing and like soft porn that's all on the feeds, like obviously through the dopamine lane. You can communicate it through so many lanes. But all I can say is life gets so much better without it. And it might be that you become creative enough to figure out how to build the future you really want. And that's a freaking useful thing to do. Because then you're going to be having loads of fun. And there's kind of this thing that like, if I don't watch the porn, it's like a sacrifice and I'm losing something. Or if I don't drink, I'm sacrificing and losing something. But there's this real misunderstanding that it's actually you gain like immense amounts. Like you gain so much. And there's this life where you laugh more and you feel happier more frequently and you're less anxious and less depressed when you have less of these things. Whereas we think only the boring fuckers would be the people that don't have all this stuff, and then they'll just sit around all bored and like not happy. But you actually become the happier one, which is the crazy paradox.
Now there's more. It's actually easier for you to become, say, not drinking and stuff like that because of the now like 0% stuff.
Yeah, true.
That has helped so many people be able to almost stay in that social environment, have that sort of placebo effect of having a beer in their hand, which they're so used to having, and they're not getting that alcohol, but they're still. Where some people may say, I can't drink, I can't socialize. But actually this has enabled them to still stay out of their friends. And
there's a component with the booze where it's actually great to not even kind of announce it to all your mates that you're not drinking tonight. Just go to, like, you can even get like pints on tap now that are alcohol free.
100%.
And like, don't even tell anyone and just like stay in the conversation. And people won't even realize, like, people only get annoyed if you say you're not drinking because it just puts a mirror on their own annoyance of the fact they're drinking. And then they're like, what a prick for not drinking. Whereas if you just don't mention it and you just like stay hanging out with the boys, like they won't even realize. And you like, if they say down it, just down the fucking flavored water that you've got in your hand.
What would you say to the people that are like, but I'm anxious, socially anxious without a drink? I need that to loosen up.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good, like, it'll temporarily loosen you, but it's not actually curing the social anxiety. It's actually fueling the social anxiety. Like there'll be a point. And I think there's this beautiful sentence with confidence that confidence comes from doing. And if you put yourself in a situation frequently where you don't drink, you'll then discover how to do that experience. But if you never allow yourself to go into it, like, I remember when I went to see Georgia and I'd finally committed to not drinking. I'd had this massive anxiety that if I fully quit drinking, I'll never find a partner, because I was like, all the girls drink. Interestingly, and this is where the world just works in weird ways, I put an Instagram story up because I couldn't take the hangovers anymore. They were too annoying and they were screwing like my ability to get my career that I wanted. And I put this story up just saying, like, I've actually decided not to drink. And that was actually the story that Georgia ended up replying to that created the whole thing. So it's like weird how things end up working out.
Yeah.
But when I went out there, it was like, now I'm going to have like a date with no booze. And you have to just like figure out that situation. And she wanted to have like a couple drinks because she's not like an addicted psycho like I am. So like she can like have a whatever, what is it called? Aperol spritz or something like that.
Right.
Delicious.
Or a Hugo spritz.
But in my head, it's just like, I'm just going to have to learn to become a good communicator. And at first you're like, I'm a bit anxious. Like, what should I say? Like, be cool, whatever it might be. But eventually all of that disappears once you actually just experience the do it.
Did you find it almost gave you more confidence?
Yeah, 100%. Now I have way more confidence because like, I would have had to get like pissed before I sat down with you guys now.
I had that recently in the build up to the Ironman. I stopped drinking, but I still went out on nights out and like social like family events and whatnot. And there's 0% and just being there, I actually felt more confident.
Bro, because you're like vibrant. You're like, your true energy in you is firing hard. You look better. Your skin's more vibrant. You're exercising every day. You've slept really good the last few nights. So you're like ready to rock.
100%.
And that's like, it's good to just, as I say, experiment and feel these feelings because they motivate you.
And I think what it is as well is it's not adding confidence doing that. You're just remembering who the fuck you are. As in like, you're remembering your self-worth and you're remembering that like, actually, I don't need to depend on something else. That doesn't hold my confidence. Like I actually am that by default. And I think like the anxiety that you may experience is like probably just like letting you know the areas that you're not remembering your self-worth. Yeah. How am I not like why you're not probably proud of yourself? It's just like a knock-on effect of like, look, this is where you're anxious. What can I do to like make myself more proud? And then actually you'll find yourself when you're proud of yourself, you can go into any situation, really, and like actually, I'm not anxious anymore to an extent.
I think it's good for Well, for me personally, like I now know I can go on a night if I want to not drink,
That's cool.
or I can drink.
And that's
For
a
me,
good place to
for
be.
me, there's that balance of just like, look, either one is fine.
And if that's like creating a life where you think life is really fun right now and like really
Yeah.
good and I feel like proud of my life, then that's perfect. And I think we all just have to figure out what that is inside each of us, rather than thinking like, oh, because my friends go out and drink 10 pints, like I should try and be able to drink 10 pints, or everyone's doing Coke, so I should do Coke. And it's like you have to just get to a point where it's like, I'm just going to listen to myself and like trust what that wants, for sure.
What are those other things that were the other aspects we were talking about?
Yes, we kind of got off phone fasting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you got
No, the daily. We talk about the daily routine stuff.
Yeah, because I saw
Yeah.
a couple that
Okay.
I'd love, like the hot and cold. I saw
Yeah,
that on there.
so hot and cold is super useful, and it can actually be utilized in different ways. And just to remind us, we got like phone fasting, super important. We've got immersing ourselves in nature without our headphones, super important. We got finding our flow state. These are super important. And for everyone listening, it's not like, wow, tomorrow all this has to be solved. But these are like gradual experiments you just run with yourself. You can go back, listen again to a tiny clip till we get an understanding. And the next one would be this hot and cold thing. So if you're in a state at the moment where you feel depressed and you're not really doing much with your life and you don't necessarily feel proud of the life you're living and you're thinking like, oh, I really need to get going, but I can't get out the phone. And like they've said, don't watch porn, but I got to watch the porn. If you're in that state, the cold is very useful for activating the dopamine to give you fuel and energy to pursue harder things, because there's actually few things that are actually harder than freezing yourself to death. And then once you've done that, it's like, oh, making the healthy food or concentrating for a bit, reading 10 pages of a book. Those things are actually easier comparatively. So the cold is very useful for the dopamine to generate motivation. The hot environments are actually the other end of the scale, where they activate endorphins, which is like a really de-stressing chemical for us that chills us back out. Evolutionarily, when you had to like fight a bear or run from something or hide or hunt, whatever it might have been, endorphins would activate in the moment to help us cope with the intensity and the stress. And then after the stress, we'd go super chilled. So our system constantly remained regulated. And effectively, if you're in a situation where you've actually been pushing too hard, like you've got really addicted to Iron Man, or you're working super hard and you're actually burning the candle too fast and hard, the hot environments are going to be very good for chilling you back out and calming you down. Baths, saunas, steam rooms. So you just kind of want to utilize them as tools. Like when I go through weeks where I pound the work super hard, then I'll use the hot environments to chill me out. If I'm like, oh, I'm not really like achieving as much, I'll use the cold to get me going.
Do you ever use them at the same time, alternating?
Yeah, I think it's cool. Like I think it's it's not necessarily achieving those specific goals when you use them alternating, but it is achieving the very important goal of I take care of myself. And that in your mind as a narrative, as a voice in your head of like, I'm someone that takes care of myself. This is why I really believe in doing 20 press ups every day when you wake.
I like that.
Not because 20 press ups is necessarily like revolutionary for what your chest looks like or something like that. But you begin this narrative of like, I'm someone that does press ups every single day, 365 days a year. And then you have that voice in your head, oh, I'm someone that's fit, I'm exercising. And we get so many kids to do this, and then gradually they're like, oh, they'll come up to me, I'm doing 50, I'm doing 100 a day now. But if you start with 20, because I'm sure lots of you have tried the thing where you're like, I'm gonna do 100 press ups a day for the rest of my life. And then like you do it for like 3 days, then you're like, oh, I can't do 100 a day.
It's
too
far.
high.
Yeah,
And
you
there'll be
need to-
days where you can't be
smaller
bothered.
steps.
Whereas 20 a day, so achievable.
Yeah,
Like, you can do
manageable,
20.
yeah.
You can do
100%.
20 every single day. And then like cumulatively, you're doing a lot of press ups every year. So the cold effectively, it's good, generating the exercise, generating the energy and
Taking
motivation.
these smaller steps to have the bigger step going forward.
For sure.
So if just on that daily routine,
Yeah.
If I was to wake up tomorrow and I wanted to,
What's the game plan?
Yeah, what are we doing tomorrow?
Well, I think
Have we finished all of them yet?
there's loads.
There's,
loads.
there's 20. Those are
20.
crucial ones.
Okay.
There's 5 within each chemical. And you can gradually learn them. Like
Okay.
the book's free on Spotify as well, and you can just listen to them. And then
Okay,
you
but
go
it's
through
an
all
app.
20. It's the book's actually the best place, to be
Okay.
honest. And if you hate reading, the reading will actually be so freaking good for you to read, because the
Yeah,
effort is
yeah.
going to reward you. But if you really hate reading, it's on Spotify, and it's free on Spotify, so you can just listen to it. And it takes you on this journey, 5 actions in each chemical, and you gradually complete challenges to integrate them into
What
your
do they
life.
have to search on Spotify?
The dose effect.
I'm
The
gonna buy
dose
that.
effect. And
So
then
I
you
think-
can gradually do it.
With your question, I think it'd be good to have like the ultimate day,
Okay.
ultimate dose day,
Yeah.
and maybe someone who's
The
The
like-
beginner's dose day.
like someone who's looking to make a change
There-
tomorrow.
There will
Yeah, okay.
100% be a good portion of our audience that are like, do you know what? Everything you said I really resonate with.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But how the fuck do I make that a
It
reality?
can be daunting for someone, 100%.
Let's do the beginner's dose day and like
Yeah.
really nail what that looks like. So
Yeah.
tonight you're going to charge your phone anywhere that's not your bedside table. That's the goal. So it charges the end of the bed outside the room. It's not charging on the bedside table. And you wake up in the morning, and as soon as you wake up, you go straight to the bathroom and you have a piss and you brush your teeth. So you're immediately just like going towards effort and not easy pleasure. If you'd normally have a shower, you just get straight in the shower and you have your shower. Come back into your bedroom and you make your bed. And then it's like, okay, wow, I've generated a lot of healthy dopamine, and that's then going to fuel you. If you have the time, which realistically you do have the time, like we all actually have loads of time. We think we don't, but then we have like 10-hour a day screen time. So we definitely have the time. You're just going to go outside, like walk around your block for like 10 minutes. If you have time for like a big walk, that's great. But 10 minutes outside, this sunlight is going to be great for your serotonin, balances your circadian rhythm, gets your energy system to operate. Let's start with that.
Even if it's cloudy.
Yeah, if it's cloudy, it's arguably more important because you're not going to generate as much serotonin. But when we hide from the outdoors in the winter, that's when we get this whole seasonal affective disorder and our energy system breaks. So I would say that is your morning routine. You wake, you get yourself ready, you go outside for a 10-minute walk. That's step one. After you've done that, after you've had your sunlight before social media effectively, you can come back in and you can check your phone for the first time. And that might have been like 15, 20 minutes you've gone. And remember, it's just one day where you run this as an experiment. You'll discover when you look at your phone that it's exactly the same as if you had looked at it 20 minutes ago. And if anyone's got an emergency or you care about all that shit, people are going to call 999 if there's problems. So like your attachment to your phone shouldn't be rooted in I need to save everyone else that might message me and all that sort of stuff. Once you come back from that walk, I would say the objective is to just get protein into your body. I think it's so crucial. I do believe in fasting, so you could fast and like wait for your protein. But I think the next crucial step to make sure you're building towards your healthiest life is to make sure you've got a lot of protein coming in from beef mince or from eggs or from Parmesan cheese. But if the protein comes in, protein's actually very good for reducing the desire for the sugar. And when we have the sugar, we then fuel all the other addictions. So I'd say that's a key step in the journey.
Why protein over carbohydrates in the morning?
Carbohydrates are also good. Like I'm not against carbohydrates. Eating fruit, for example, would be really good. But protein breaks into this amino acid called tryptophan and tyrosine, which help fuel your serotonin and your dopamine system to like regulate your energy and motivate you. And protein, the word actually comes from proteus, which is actually the Latin word for meaning primary. Like it was the main thing. Like that's what we were always looking for was protein. And then when we found the nuts and the fruit and like had some dairy from like a cow of some kind, like the Hadza do, those were like surrounding the main goal of protein. And this is where we have to consider we're so fortunate that we're in the modern world where we can have the choice to just go and get protein all the time. And that's a joy. And we should like be grateful for that abundance and be like, okay, so protein is how I'm going to fuel myself. And as I say, eggs, grass-fed mince. But if you were to say, for example, like come back from the walk and they'd be like, right, I'm just going to nail like a bowl of cereal with like some syrup on it or some sugar, you're then just going to put yourself into a big glucose and dopamine spike, and then it's going to crash. And then by like 8:30, 9 o'clock, you're like, oh, I should probably do something, but I'm just going to like binge my phone for a little bit.
Like a healthy oats.
Yeah, I mean, oats would definitely be pretty good. Like oats, I would say optimal situation would be the eggs or the meat, but like the oats are definitely a very healthy source of like food for your body. They got slow release energy. They're a whole grain. Like they're going to be really good, but I just move towards the protein. If you're currently wanting to like really dial in. Yeah.
I saw it as well. Apparently, like the carbs first thing, like they're actually going to lead you to be more sad, like the more potentiality of actually like having like down emotions because of the high. Whereas like the consistency that comes with having like maybe a fat and protein breakfast sets you up so that you haven't got that initial, so the crash, because it's not just an energy crash, it's actually like an emotional crash as well. So I'm assuming that contributes as well.
And our body and our gut, 90% of this serotonin is actually generated in our gut, which is pretty crazy. It's like it's predominantly generated there. It's deeply craving the protein as a key resource. Like we have this deep craving for this amino acid within protein that is going to be like, okay, that's what I've got to go look for. And our brain and body is searching for it. And you'll notice, like, for example, when you eat like a bowl of pasta, like obviously I love eating pasta, it tastes good, or you nail like a pizza, you never really have a moment where you think, oh, I'm really done with this, until you feel yourself to a point where you literally can't eat, but you don't have a moment of like, oh, deep satisfaction. Whereas what you'll notice when you eat like a steak, for example, is you finish your steak and you're not like, oh, I really want to eat a whole nother steak. You're like, that's good. And that's because these amino acids have been satisfied effectively. And if you can be on the pursuit of satisfying what our body is deeply craving, and we call it amino acids now, it's just fuel effectively that's going to enable a hunter-gatherer to have strength and muscle and vitality and energy. And that's what we needed to survive. And if you satisfy that deep need, the desire to be like, oh, I'm going to like bang loads of sugar throughout the day and snack on the sweets, it just begins to disappear effectively.
So then we've had breakfast. Is this just about setting up the day?
So this is the morning. We're then going to aim to like consider how can we get some good focus mid-morning? Like, is there something you can do to focus on? So you might be in your working life and it's like, I'm actually going to try and do this project for longer than 15 minutes. That's what it takes to get into flow state without picking up my phone the whole time. So you're like, for example, what I'll do is I'll get my phone, I get the stopwatch on like 00, like counting upwards. I'll take it to my kitchen table, start the stopwatch, and then go and see how long I can focus for. And then when I eventually I'm like, oh, I need the phone, I'll go back and I'll see what the time's on. And like, I'll see like, oh, today, when I first started doing this, it was like 1 minute, 15 seconds. And then gradually that number will build. Mid-morning, the objective really is just like, can I find some deep focus on something? Could be work, could be reading, could be art, whatever the day of the week is.
What if the only thing to really do is something that you're like, oh, can't really be bothered? For example, tidy, declutter.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have anything to do, but I technically do. But they're kind of something that I don't really want to focus on. Like, what do you say towards people that maybe are saying that?
Yeah, and this is where that idea of like focusing too much on the effort involved over the outcome is so crucial, because like it feels good when your home is tidy. Like it feels
good tidy when you're in it as well.
Yeah, when you're in it, you actually get like cleaning flow state.
Like, yeah, you know,
cleaning flow state's insane, bro. And the beginning, this is why the 15 minutes thing is so important. The beginning isn't fun. Like when you start cleaning your kitchen, you're like, oh fuck's sake.
Once you started.
And then when you're in, you are in. You're like spraying all the hobs and you're like really going for it. And it's so important to just consistently remind yourself of the outcome and how you're going to feel once you've got past that 15 minutes. And it's interesting because we train the NHS a lot. We train lots of the staff, and the staff are like struggling a lot with their mental health. We actually see some of the greatest difficulty with mental health and their brain chemistry levels with that audience. And they're just like really overworked, and they're like the food system within the NHS, ironically, is actually like a lot of crap, which is like really tricky. And we give them this action. One of those 5 dopamine actions is discipline. And they have to go through the process of trying to get their bedroom clean within the first 7 days before the next event. We run it as like a 30-day challenge for them. And they have to try and get their bedroom clean. And so many of them sit there, especially if you've got bad mental health and you're like, fuck that. Like cleaning your bedroom is the last thing you want to do. Like the bedside table's covered in like old moldy glasses and like plates, and like your shit's everywhere and your sheets are really dirty and your clothes are all over the place. But if someone gets that task done, it's insane what happens to the rest of it, because it fuels them. They like feel like a deep sense of accomplishment. For so many of us, we just are never really feeling like, oh, I'm so proud of myself. Like I can do more. We're just feeling like I'm just going to keep doing less. I'm going to keep doing less. So I'd say the discipline in your environment, that'd be like the best activity on like a Saturday or Sunday morning if you're not working. If before you sat on the sofa and binged the content or whatever it might be, you're just like, I'm just going to bang a little clean in my kitchen. I'm going to get my bedroom organized. I'm going to wash my sheets. That is going to be unreal for your brain.
Well, people that go to work, so obviously they have a focus and like, okay, the end goal is that they're obviously, you know, surviving, putting money on, you know, in their bank and food on the table and shelter over their head. But ultimately, like they're in a job that they aren't enjoying much. So it's like, I can't even really see how I can focus on this. Like, what should those people do?
Yeah, I think definitely trying to reduce the distraction around is important, and trying to gamify the boring task by like almost like putting timers on and counting how fast you can do things can help. Like I hate the financial side of business. I find it really boring, numbers. And I'll gamify it by being like, I wonder if I could do that task in 17 minutes to try and like stimulate dopamine artificially, because I'm going to hate the task. There is a component of that is tough. Like it is tough for the brain to be working a job you hate. And I think if it's like providing for family, obviously like keep doing it, but also definitely continue to consider like going on those quiet walks and just like asking yourself questions for like your future in the longer term. Like maybe there's a skill that's underused within your life that might actually be something that's of value to the world. So I think keep doing it, and like it's very important, but also like just like keep open to like what might be in your future. And then we get to lunchtime effectively on the daily routine. Get to lunchtime. The whole goal is just to not eat ultra processed foods and to get outside for a short period of time. We need sunlight and we need our gut health to be optimized. So we're going to get hydrated. I think it's so good to center your whole diet around meat and fruit. It sounds like one of those classic like people that eat off wooden chopping boards, but I found the easiest diet of my life
That's literally me.
is eating off chopping boards, because there's just something about like when you're someone that's like, I've got to eat healthy, so I'm going to have to go follow loads of people on Instagram that teach you how to cook like meals where they start the video and they're like, add this, make this sauce, start that. You're like, fuck, I can't do all that. I can't bother to buy all those ingredients. Where if you're just like, I'm not even going to think about constructing like a recipe, but I'm going to make sure there's some meat, some fruit and some cheese on this plate in front of me. And then I'm just going to eat them together or eat them individually, whatever it might be. Your whole diet just improves like crazy. So I would say pursuing that part. It's and you feel so good. Like you eat and you're like, fuck yeah. And you don't want loads of crap afterwards. You're just like, this is good.
A lot of people definitely struggle with like the monotony of those basic foods.
They do,
I think the simplicity of it. You got
to get somewhat good at cooking. Like you got olive oil and salt, and when you can, like obviously you can't have steaks all the time because they might be expensive, but when you can, like cook it in butter with the rosemary and the garlic. Like try and like make it nice. I think like buying yourself an expensive steak, like going to a butcher and buying yourself a grass-fed steak that costs you like 15 quid is actually the best treat in the world you could give to yourself. Like that's
Not everyone can do that though.
No, that's not true. But I mean, like on a Friday night, I'm sure like many people spend like 40 quid on pints. So they might be able to spend like 15 quid on the steak sometimes as a treat. But then when you're going for this, like the more boring meals, like eating like cheap beef mince or whatever it might be, I also think putting honey on your food is a fucking massive hack.
And hummus.
It's such a hack. just cover it in honey.
Raw honey,
yeah,
like
good
single
honey.
origin, like not that.
No,
like
ideally
local
not
honey.
ideally like local honey.
Yeah.
Like if you can get hold of that would be
Manuka
a dream.
honey.
But honey on your food, I actually find if you get your beef mince and then you put like your, say like a bit of sweet potato that you've like banged in the oven really quickly, just like squares of sweet potato and some veg. Then if you put some Greek yogurt and some honey on the Greek yogurt and turn that into your new version of ketchup or mayonnaise, you'll eat it and you'll be like, oh, it's actually well good. Like it adds the sauce, sweet feeling that you need, but it's freaking yogurt.
And we talked about red pepper hummus.
Yeah, bang that on.
But it's important, would you say? Because obviously, like, there's some like hummuses or some things that you can see that also have like loads of shit in them that are actually ultra processed. But you think, no, this is hummus. Do you think it's important to like actually like realistically, you're gonna have to look at labels to make sure that it is natural only like ingredients? And
Yeah, man, I think it's key, and I think there's almost like a dopamine fun game to be played down the lane of how do I make sure I eat the good food. And I think the fronts of packets have like got really strategic at fooling us with their high protein, low sugar, low fat, whatever it might be. And I think you gotta let go of that and just like look at the back of things. If there's one item in it, it's gonna be great. If there's loads of things in it, it's not gonna be great. Like if you look at yogurt, some of the like YoPro type yogurts will actually be just like 25 ingredients that are very disruptive to your gut lining. And like there's always tiers to this stuff. Like obviously protein yogurts will be better than McDonald's. So like it's a gradual process, but the pursuit of just a single ingredient way of eating, actually, like all of these like stimulation addiction type things, means you end up not even wanting it. Like I don't walk past and think, oh, I wish I could have it. Because my body over time, like the gut bacteria within me has built a liking for the mince and the beet and the eggs and the Parmesan cheese and the fruit. And now it just thinks that that's what its fuel is. And I think when you pursue that single ingredient food, like eventually you're like, this is all right. Like I feel good. Like it tastes good. It's satisfying.
I also I like working into the weird like combinations of as well of like what people think wouldn't work together, and you end up doing shit like putting fucking strawberries in your beef and shit. Like
there you go, bro. People do that.
Yeah, fucking it works. You start throwing shit in, you're like, I need to spice this up a little bit. I'll use something, and then you'll be like, do you know what, that actually works?
Bro, I put some banana in a bowl of beef mince, and I was like, that's gonna be disgusting. It actually wasn't disgusting.
You see.
But if you just like stop thinking about like recipes and you just think, what would the hunter-gatherers have had access to? They'd have had meat, they would have had fruit, somewhat cheesing away from dairy, they would have had honey. If you centralize your diet around that, and then depending on your goals, like if this is really important, you're like, I want to dial in my life, make that your whole diet. If you're like, I want to eat a pizza once a week, obviously that's a path you can pursue. But with our level of addiction, it's just going to be really hard to only have little amounts of the quick dopamine. Yeah. So there's a life where you actually feel like blissfully happy and satisfied without any of it.
Theo, are you convinced yet?
I think I always agree with that.
I'd love to see you try
No,
this
like,
lifestyle for
are
a
you
week.
like this? I'm convinced so far that this actually makes sense for me to do, or
of
are
course
you?
It makes sense.
No, not make sense for anyone else. I'm saying for you, are you like now? Yeah, this is. You don't have to say yeah. By the way, like
I mean, I
won't take it as an insult.
I one of my favorite meals is
yes or no
steak and like raw vegetables, and that's what I've got tonight. I absolutely love it.
Raw veg.
No, like broccoli.
Yeah.
Carrots.
Oh, real veg.
Real veg. Right, it wasn't cooked. It's one of my favorite meals, and I absolutely love eating whole foods like that.
Cool.
I'm still gonna have a fucking pizza.
Yeah, and like
but I love it. And
go for Pizza Express over Domino's if you can.
I'm so off Domino's at the moment.
Yeah, Domino's is
I don't
never
get
eat
it that
those
often.
ones, but like Pizza Express maybe.
But
I
almost have a different view on food though.
Okay.
Because of the exercise that I have been doing recently, I almost don't see it as food. It's almost as fuel.
Yeah, bro, but like the fruit and the meat and the honey,
I eat loads of fruit.
That shit will be the most
I eat loads of fruit and I eat
fuel.
loads of meat.
Yeah.
And I also had to eat a load of carbs.
Yeah, and carbs are good to clarify.
Good
like
carbs.
the rice,
Oats,
the potatoes,
rice, exactly,
all
sweet potato,
that stuff is great. Yeah.
and the Fanta.
And donuts.
You guys are fuckers, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, because it gets to a point where sometimes
it's just
you need
sugar, even if it's like ultra processed cancerous sugar that's fucking you up.
But mate, you clearly don't understand this because when you're in these high level exercises, you do need instant hits like that.
Honey?
It's tough.
Yeah, honey's great.
Honey could be good. Like
Fruit?
a banana maybe, but
Yeah, banana,
I
but
understand.
also-
Like I haven't
also you
put
have to
myself through an
remember,
Ironman.
I love a
Dates.
banana 100%, but you also get what did you call it? It's like taste bud like monotony that you actually cannot stomach any more of this one
You
thing.
need it to be
You
stimulating.
need it to be
Yeah.
different. You need it to be stimulating. Otherwise, it's just
I
like
need it to taste like a donut.
you do, because when you're in 10 hours of pain, you need a bit of like, I need something
No,
different.
I do understand your point. I want to clarify, but the argument would be that
But that's not
all
normal
of-
to live like that, though.
all of these things.
There's truth in
that's
that.
not
Like
normal to
arguably
live
the
like that.
Ironman in itself is like quite a complicated
100%,
experience
and that's why
for the body.
So what's
Since
your
I've s-
day-to-day reasoning?
I don't do it anymore. Since the Ironman, my diet's completely changed.
Oh, amazing.
There we go.
I still,
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I would love to see you live a week like this.
I'll do it this week, and I know it'll be great. I'm still, but like
Film
for
it.
Yeah,
Content.
that is a video.
this morning, what I have for breakfast, I had 2 eggs and sourdough.
It's a second channel video. I know.
I'll just do it for me.
Good
Okay,
lad.
You do it for you.
Yeah.
All right,
anyway,
so we've
carry
got
on.
to lunch.
Lunchtime, yeah.
What's after lunch?
Unfortunately, it's back to work, depending on how much you
Okay.
like your work, but that's an inevitable part. And then after you finish work, so it's at 5, 6, 7, whenever work might come to an end for you, the goal is to try and get ourselves out of what I call high stim towards low stim. So it's like, how am I going to take my brain out of this? Because what I find is I finish work, and as much as I'm obviously like sharing that I believe in this life, we have less technology, my whole company and research lab runs on my computer. So I have to sit there for like 5 hours every day, like banging through it, 5 hours every afternoon, banging through it, making content, coming up with ideas, messaging people, all that stuff. And about 5:30, when I like will finish up, my brain will want to just go onto the sofa and watch YouTube, because it doesn't like the idea of going into the slower place, because it's like, oh God, I can't feel that, 'cause my heart's going a bit faster, and like it doesn't like it. And I'll then force myself for the walk. Like the walk is absolutely crucial at that point to try and get myself out of that like state in my brain, so that I'll be able to somewhat chill in the evening without thinking chilling just has to look like YouTube
Can I,
shorts.
you know, the low stim
Yes.
state? Obviously, the short form stuff is just awful for you. We all know that. What
Yeah.
about the longer form stuff?
Yeah, and this is
Sitting
great
down
nuance.
Because is watching a film low stim.
Yeah.
I saw your post
Mm.
about Harry Potter, where you
Mm.
hadn't watched TV for like 7.
Yeah, we did 6 weeks without a
6
TV. And that's not saying that that's what people have to do, but we wanted to run it as an experiment together to see if it's possible to find something else to do in the evening.
How was
Like,
it?
It was honestly revolutionary. It was revolutionary. And we did, like, we've been watching some movies recently. We picked Harry Potter because we thought, that would be like somewhat like slower than like the modern stuff. Still pretty stimulating, to be honest. But now I'm addicted to TV again in like a day. But the process of doing it was just interesting to discover what true boredom felt like. Because in the evening, like, you're like, okay, so what am I going to do? I've got from like, say, 6 till 10 to entertain myself. And we weren't just not watching TV. We also agreed to like not watch YouTube and content and stuff like that, and not scroll X, which I got super hooked to X when I tried to get off short form videos. And we'd go out for a walk, and we'd be like, well, there's not going to be anything to do this evening, so let's just walk for way longer than we'd normally
Just
go for this walk
exercise more,
to try
essentially.
and like entertain ourselves. And then we'll be like, oh, if there's a nice bit of the woods, like we'll just like sit down for a bit, because it's like we're going to have to entertain ourselves. And then when you get to making dinner, it's like, let's make the food a bit slower and like let's chat, and then we'll eat the food. And like we had got into the pattern of like, I freaking love YouTube, so I'll be like, oh no, this video's come out, this podcast I really want to listen to, or whatever it might be. One time I actually watched that video, you go into the Amazon, which literally killed me, that video. Mate, that was so funny. But so we'll like find something like that, be like, oh, we need to eat in front of that because it'll be really fun. So we didn't have that anymore. So it was like, we're going to ate much slower, talked much more. And then we'd like read, which was like pretty big change, because like reading is like boring now. It's low stim, and like we're so hooked on high stim. And then inevitably we'd get into bed at like 8:45 because you're like, what the fuck am I going to do? And then the interesting thing that happened is because you've been like de-stimulating all evening, it actually begins to feel fine. Like I'd be able to like have a bath, for example, and sit there in the bath. But normally I wouldn't even be able to have a bath because I'd be like, it's too boring to even have a bath.
and watch a YouTube
Yeah,
video
you'd always
or something.
watch something. We'd get into bed and we would chat. Your intimacy goes up loads because you got like less dopamine. So like, because what you find is if you're not like having phones in bed together, you then look for another source of dopamine, which is having sex with each other. So that goes up. And there's just this interesting effect that occurs when you pursue this low stim in a relationship. So obviously this varies depending on your situation, but there's this magical place when you fall in love with someone where you lie in bed and you chat and you laugh and you get to know each other and you have sex with each other, and it's like this beautiful place that gets lost after a few months. We think of it as like the honeymoon period. Like it's unlikely you kind of meet a girl and And from night one, where you're fully like falling for each other, you're like scrolling your phones together in bed.
Yeah.
And it almost like was a resurgence of that. It like reactivated it. Like we had conversations, like the conversations just go further because you've got nothing to kind of keep distraction out. It's like conversation flow state almost. So it was an experiment. It was interesting.
How have you
Like,
found the balance? What's your balance now?
so the game plan is to not watch any content via a phone, because the phone short form content is just, for me, it's too hard. Like I can't get out of it if I get into it. So I got to get out of that. And then it'll be not eating in front of the TV. We agreed this thing together called meals, bedroom, bathroom, where we weren't going to have screens when we were eating meals, when we were in the bedroom, or when we were in the bathroom, which is like a big change to try and run that. And then after dinner, now watching some TV, and it feels good. And in answer to your question, like low stim, a movie is way lower stim than short form content. And this idea of like, is watching long form content versus short form content different? It's massive, because you only have a certain amount of dopamine within your brain at any one time. It lives in this area of your brain called your ventral tegmental area, which is like a dopamine factory for these little dopamine bubbles. And your brain has the capacity to ship these bubbles to your reward center called your nucleus accumbens. And like, so when you like clean your house, for example, it makes a load of dopamine bubbles in the factory from the effort. Then it sends some of these bubbles to the reward center, and you're like, oh, it feels quite good. And you get a little extra load when you finish. It's like, nice. When you go on like the short form video, you're not using any effort, but you are experiencing lots of pleasure. So your brain dumps the dopamine bubbles effectively from the factory towards the reward center, and you crash it out. In a situation where you're watching a long form video, like say someone just listens to this whole podcast, their brain has had to deeply focus and pay attention and experience a level of flow state in order to understand. So if in the evening you're like, I love content, I want to watch YouTube, I like want to watch a movie, that's definitely on the best side of using technology possible, because it's so much lower stim and because you're not going to wear out the dopamine system. And I think YouTube Shorts like has got us, because we're like, you go on YouTube and it's almost too much effort to even pick a video. When you like go for a shit, for example, you like sit down, you're like, I can't be bothered to find one, so you just hit to YouTube Shorts. But the effort, and now it's almost hilarious that would be considered effort to find a video, but it is like you have to go, all right, what's the long 10-minute video I'm going to watch? But it'll be a lot better for your brain.
This is such a niche question, but is YouTube Shorts your number one for short form over TikTok or Instagram Reels?
For my personal,
For you actually personally, yeah.
that I watch or that I make?
That you watch?
No, I now don't watch. I can't let myself go on YouTube Shorts because I can't
Do you
like
post to it any of your own content to those shorts?
Yes, so I primarily do Instagram, and I do make Instagram Reels, and I deeply optimize them with hooks and payoffs to make sure people want to watch them. And that is a irony I live within that's painful.
Yeah, I suppose if like what you're saying within it is basically this is your gateway to actually help you get off of this.
Yeah.
Like, are you actually, as in, is the content you put out trying to keep people on your Instagram page as much as possible, or is it actually saying like this is like how you can get off of this?
Now, like my videos will always be like, I ran this 48-hour dopamine detox experiment, and this is how I did it. And then this, like the video I'm making right now, is about the black and white phone. We've done the 7 days with the black and white. So it'll always hopefully inspire people off it. My last like viral post was like 7 truths about phones that will shock you. And then you read it and you're like, fucking hell, like I open my phone 55,000 times a year. That's the average number. 55,000
Like a
opens.
job.
It's
It's
so-
like a slave.
So
you're doing that for free.
you're actively actually trying to reduce the amount of views that you get.
Well, it is an interesting
weird
experiment.
way.
In a
Do
way.
you know
Well,
what
I
I
suppose
mean?
if everyone's there,
Bro.
it's like you will get loads of views still because there's so many people there to be saved in a sense.
But this is what we're talking about with the short form and long form content. Like,
There's
it's
enough
o-
to be saved. That's the thing.
It's-
Even
it's
if my
okay
whole
to
following
post.
left, there would be another following that need it.
Yeah. Can
You
I
can
just ask as
learn.
well, the content, the long form content that you're saying like is less stimulating, but we can still like probably consume.
Mm.
Do you think the genre matters? Because if that genre that you're watching is a really intense, scary, it's getting you in a state of fear, worry, you're now scared to go to sleep at night.
Mm.
Do you think that really matters in terms of what you're watching going into the evening and as you're trying to unwind?
Yeah, we have this fascinating thing within our brain called mirror neurons that will actually begin to mimic the experience in front of us.
Right.
And therefore that matters a lot. So like if you were to watch something kind of like lighter and educational, that would be pretty useful for your brain. But if you were to watch like intense, like arguing, intense news, like your own reality of life will begin to reflect the content that you're consuming. So like this show, for example, like you guys are making people laugh, and that's like bringing like a nice light energy into people. Whereas if you're watching super intense stuff, like it's not going to be as good for your brain.
Romantic
the same with the
comedies.
movies you watch. Romantic comedies would be good. But are you interested with the stimulation thing? Like even if you compare like Gladiator 1 to Gladiator 2, like Gladiator 1 will just like chill you out a bit more because it's a little bit slower. And the more you can just consider in your mind, like, I'm going to choose the low stim path. And then when you sit down on the sofa and you're like, shit, I got to try and like watch this movie like without my phone. Because that's like got to be an absolute like rule within your life that you're not going to watch TV whilst you have your phone in your hand. And it's like something that you can easily break. Like the majority of the world right now are probably sitting there like watching Love Island. What's the big one right now? Love is Blind, whilst scrolling their phone.
Or watching Wafflin.
Or watching Wafflin. And I
Even
hope if they're
watching
watching
the
Wafflin, they're just watching Wafflin. Whereas if it's like, I'm going to watch that, but I'm also going to do this. And like a lot of the teenagers we train in schools will literally like game with a podcast on with YouTube shorts here. And they kind of just like bang it all at once the whole time. And their dopamine system, like, it's not going to be able to cope.
One positive thing we actually see in the analytics of a lot of our shows and our podcasts, I don't know if you boys know this, is that the viewing figures from the devices we can see.
Okay.
And
okay.
TV is now number one. It's like 60-70% over phone. Which I guess is a positive for what you're trying to
Yeah,
spread
right. And
as
if you were to one evening, like you had your dinner and you're like, cool, I've been outside for a little bit, I've done some of these actions, I've had some breaks from my phone, I've eaten some good food, I've been outside, I've connected, I've contributed to someone. Then you're like, cool, I'm going to chill and I'm going to watch some TV. If you then go and put your phone, like say in your bedroom, like, well, actually never have it in your bedroom, go put it in the kitchen in like your cutlery drawer or some shit, and then sit on the sofa, put your waffling on, and then just sit back. And what you'll discover is like your brain after like 10 minutes begins to think like, oh, maybe I need something else to watch. But there's this magical boredom barrier at about 15 minutes, similar to the flow state, where your brain will be like, I'm in this now. Like, I'm just going to chill and I'm just going to watch it. And that state, when you move to what's called alpha brainwaves, where rather than your brainwaves going like this, which is called beta brainwaves, they begin to like go a little bit more mellow. That's a beautiful state to access. And maybe waffling in each evening is the place to get it.
So you trust, so it's a sense of like, I guess you could put that to other things. Like when I get an urge to do something that doesn't serve me, like sit with it for 15 minutes you will get through it.
Definitely.
So it's in like, maybe my one would be like, I'm really horny. I want to like self-pleasure myself. I can't resist this. It's so like, oh my God. If I just sat there for 15 minutes and like we're thinking of the goal, like you're saying, like
the outcome.
The outcome of like, I'm going to actually not just be this 80-year-old wanker one day that's been lonely his whole life, and I'm actually going to live this family life, meet the person of my dreams, and you focus on that, 15 minutes, you reckon that's it. You'll actually be able to see the bigger picture, and the urge will go.
Definitely.
Wow.
It will pass.
There's your hack, everyone.
And just like remind yourself, like the craving will pass. Like I remember even in the process of like, when I was trying to quit smoking cigarettes, like I got crazy addicted to cigarettes, and I would like sit with the thing of thinking I need a cigarette, and then eventually like the need would begin to dissipate. And we don't have any patience for that anymore. Like we're lacking so much patience. And if you just wait, it'll be all right.
Amazing. So we've done the long form. We're maybe sitting down. We're maybe not even watching TV. We've had loads of sex or not. And now it's
loads, hopefully.
Bedtime, you think now you're going to just get to sleep fairly easily. And would you say it's like earlier than normal then because you're not overly stimulated?
Yeah. So that's the interesting thing. Like you begin to crave bed more. Naturally, we would actually go to sleep like at like 8 o'clock. Like when it was, especially in the winter, like dark, we would be going to sleep. Like we wouldn't have just like woken up for ages.
Talking of that Amazon rainforest video, obviously we would wake and like sleep with the sun. Like the sun would come up at like 5 a.m. We're up. When the sun went down at like 8 p.m., 7 p.m., like we were actually like, I'm ready for bed because obviously we've not been stimulated. We're out in nature all day doing those more hunter-gatherer things.
Yeah.
It was like crazy how quickly that happened. So yeah.
And you want to move towards that. And that's why like if the phone's on black and white, it's just like less stimulation, keeping you awake. And interestingly, you just begin to feel the tiredness more. Like the less you stimulate your brain in the evening, the more this melatonin chemical will produce. Melatonin is what actually puts us to sleep and motivates sleep. And if you just go down that path, like, you can watch a screen for a bit. Like if there's ever an opportunity, like hang out in nature for an evening, like go to a park, whatever it might be, take all of those opportunities. But on the more like consistent routine days, you watch a bit of TV, you leave the phone in another room while you do it. You maybe eventually finish watching TV and you're like, oh, I need to check my WhatsApp like once before I go to bed. That's okay. Like if that's the case, it'd be cool if you can go to sleep, but you check it. And ideally you kind of like just like stand in the kitchen, like with your phone, you just kind of like bang through it, like reply some stuff on Snap or whatever it might be. And then you're like, okay, I'm going to go to bed. And you don't like sit down with your phone because as soon as you like are down with the phone, you're in. So you stand there, get through the phone stuff. And then as an experiment, you just like go to bed. You brush your teeth. Ideally, you don't actually stand in like a really brightly lit bathroom while you brush your teeth. Like you put the toothpaste on. These are so specific, these things, but they matter to how quickly you'll fall asleep. So you stand maybe in the corridor, you brush your teeth, and then you just get into bed and you just lie there. And the first few times you do this, like it is tricky going to sleep like in the quiet without so much noise and stimulation. Like I grew up my whole teenage life not knowing I was actually quite anxious because I didn't really know any of those like words at that time. But like I just would lie in bed like quite like stressed and stuff. And I listened to that Friends TV show every night for like 10, 12 years. Maybe when I'd been in relationships, they'd had to listen to
Fall
it.
asleep to the TV.
Fall asleep with like it playing out of an iPad. I'd listen to it because I didn't really like the silence. And progressively, that kind of real destimulated thing of going to bed is actually becoming harder because of the big contrast between like banging videos and then I'm going to go to sleep. So if you just lie there, first few nights, that you'll gradually ease into it. If you breathe deep and slow, it will help. If you're grateful for your life, it will help. If you celebrate what you achieved that day, it will help. You just lie there. The earlier you sleep, the better your life becomes. Like I'd almost put early nights at like number 1 of the whole 20, because if you have the early night, you wake up and you're like vital and you're just like, I've got loads of energy, and then you're like, right, I'm gonna make a good decision with this phone. I'm gonna get out, I'm gonna eat the protein, I'm gonna get into flow state, I'm gonna socialize. So the early night is such like a crucial step in the journey to achieving the Domino 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so say if you're currently, your body clock's like, oh, midnight, I go to sleep, 9 o'clock, wake up. Like I'm currently in this where I probably 7:30 is the earliest I'm up at the moment because I'm going to bed later.
Yeah,
Do you think there's no way around? Because obviously if you're not sleepy at night, like till that time, because you're used to it, do you think there's no other way out of starting the process, like as in being up early and going on your walk, than setting an alarm earlier and sacrificing that night you may have less sleep, which may actually in turn make you feel less able because you're sleep deprived that day one that you start? Do you get me?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say waking up at 7:30 is that bad. I woke up today like 7:10, and that was pretty cool.
Okay.
And so I know some of the things that we need to wake up at 5 a.m. I think in your situation there, where currently it's 12, I would just say like it's a gradual process of shifting it earlier by like half an hour each evening for like a couple weeks. So you'd like, or like even 15 minutes each evening, and gradually move it back so you can retrain your circadian rhythm. Because like if tonight you're like, I'm going to try and be in bed by 11 without technology, by like 11:30 you're going to be asleep realistically. Like you might have an overstimulated brain because your brain is used to the normal sleep time, but it will fall asleep eventually. If your bedroom is freezing cold, it's going to help loads. If you've got a fan on you, it's going to help loads. So if any of those things are possible, like freeze the bedroom before you get into it is good.
I do that.
Yeah, it's very good to make your bedroom freaking cold. We slept outside for 300,000 years, so like our body likes to.
Exactly.
It likes
it lets us know. That's why you get sleepy after a bath, right? Because your temperature going down.
drops.
It's like, oh, I'm meant to be going to sleep at this time.
And maybe tonight, like take the bath or something like that, and just ease it back. But in the process of like having a less stimulated evening, you might feel like, oh, it's all right. And a crucial step in that is eating your dinner as early as you possibly can. Because if the dinner goes in at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then you're like, I need some sugar, so that's like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And even if it was healthy sugar, like dark chocolate or yogurt or whatever, suddenly like you're going to be waiting 90 minutes and it all gets pushed back. So the goal is like effectively in the evening is like, how do I get this dinner into me as early as possible so that everything moves forward?
Okay, so imagine in terms of like our ancestors as well that lived outside, obviously at night there would be noises like the crickets and like there would still be noise. So like the dead quiet, is that actually natural at night?
Yeah, I wouldn't say the dead quiet. The dead quiet can be quite like scary, to be honest. Like it was pure silence. And it varies where you live. Like I live in a town, so like hear some noise, like some cars and stuff like that. But I would say sound is okay. Like I find a fan, like I'll run a fan even in winter so I can listen to the fan. So it sounds like wind almost, like for my brain.
I do that.
And then ideally, as I say, like you don't want the phone there. So it's like, even if you were to like put a computer the other side of your room and like just put like nature sounds on, running on YouTube or Spotify or something. If you had to have sound, Alexa might be able to run it. I'll put that AI straight next to your head.
Headspace, right? Or,
bro.
Or different like apps that obviously there's different apps available. That like tell you stories to go to sleep. Like that's what I mean. I've used Headspace and it does just tell you a story that goes around in circles and is almost like kind of difficult to really fully focus on. So it kind of like waffles you to sleep.
Yeah. As
what
we're probably doing for people right now.
Right. What do you make of those? Because that's technically someone talking. Obviously, they're talking very softly and like, you know, do you think they are a good step to like get into that point of having no stimulation to get to sleep? Or do you think people could still use those and still get optimum everything that you've mentioned?
I think the long-term goal is to be able to regulate yourself to sleep in your own mind, to be able to like calm yourself in your thoughts, because sometimes we lie in bed and we stress about all kinds of stuff, and like developing the skill of settling the mind is actually a really like powerful tool to have. Like I'll lie in bed, and because I did it for so long and then I only quit like maybe a year ago, quit it as if it's like a drive, but like quit like going to sleep with sound, I'll still lie in bed and I'll be like, okay, I'm lying here, and then I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna focus on my breathing, and I'm just gonna like feel my body, and I'm just gonna like think through my day and figure out what I'm grateful for. And if you go through that process, like a good skill to have in general in life, because then like when life stresses you out, you've got that ability to regulate yourself. Now, given saying that, a lot of teenagers right now will TikTok themselves to sleep. Like our data right now for the summer holidays for teenagers is averaging about 12 hours a day of TikTok.
Wow.
Just TikTok. Yeah, bro. So we got a lot of TikTok, and a lot of it is in the night. They sleep to it, and if they wake, they're like habitually going like that. So like, so like that's why the number's like so high. But also they're buying about 8 hours in the daytime, and that's not ideal. So like the headspace would obviously be like a beautiful middle ground if silence is impossible, and maybe find the silence and that skill out in the nature, because the nature is going to be a little bit easier to find it because your system gets much more regulated there. So I would say there's tiers to it.
You said you work with NHS a lot. It's all well and good, all of this, but what would you say to a shift worker or a night worker?
Yeah, I would say just when you are presented with the opportunity to rest, use that as real rest and not dopamine time. So like we do work with lots of shift workers that will do night shifts, and we'll make sure that in their time off, whenever that time might be, they make sure they have some period of time outside, they make sure they eat some good food, and they make sure when they lie down, like they don't just like have their rest as like doom scrolling videos, like lying in bed, for example, which is so easy to be like, oh, finally I've got some me time, and like I deserve this time. Like I'm working through the nights, my family's struggling. Like that's a tricky position to be in. I empathize with that. And the truest me time would be really slow time. And that's what will make your mental health feel great. So I think it's just when you're presented with the opportunity for rest, you take it. The other thing I would say to them, this isn't a plug for a product, but there's these things, and I won't even name brands, but they're called sunrise alarm clocks that wake you with light.
Yeah, I tried that.
And those can really help regulate your system if your sleep patterns are all kind of off dependent on your work. They'll gradually wake you up, like in the darkness, for example. If you're waking at like 2 a.m. to go to work, they'll really help.
Fantastic.
Wow. And lastly, for me, what would be your ideal holiday? Because I'm trying to book some holidays. Not just go traveling.
What? Yeah,
no. Just hear this. So this is because a lot of people associate holiday with this is the time to let go and just fuck it. Let me drink loads, eat loads of shit. Like traditionally from kids, that's what we're shown, right? That's a holiday. Just fuck it, right? Are you saying like things more like, I don't know, camping or what would you describe as like an ideal holiday for someone that's wanting to still like be kind to themselves and do like stay in what you're saying, but still do something different and see the world and get stimulated in a holiday way, nonetheless?
I honestly think if I was dreaming right now, like I'm getting married late next year and I'm thinking about my stag do, for example, and like that's not going to be like everyone getting fucked, because that's just not like what I necessarily want to do. And then I'll be obviously like really not involved if they're all like 10 pints in and I'm just like, oh, what's going on? And I would dream of like just like going camping with the boys in nature, having to like make fires. And I don't think we're going to have the skills to hunt, for example. We might find some fruit on some trees, but we'll bring some food. We'll cook some food around a fire. Or if I was thinking like dream holiday, like a bucket list thing, it'd be like one of those like sick camper vans with my partner and like my future kids. And I'd like take them out into nature and we'd spend like 2 weeks without our phones and we'd just like chill out. And that for me would be heaven. I don't know. Going like, trying to do like 3 or 5 days living like a hunter-gatherer with you. That'd be a funny holiday.
Mate, that's crazy because like last episode we were talking about our bucket list and I said I want to do, instead of do a series, but just do it for myself of like living primally and just seeing how we'd get on, like just us as modern day humans, how would we get on living primally as a hunter-gatherer and like surviving? And I just think that'd be amazing.
Content or not content, that would be a good idea.
Could you catch an animal?
Well, there we go.
We would struggle, mate.
Would you know what to do with it when you have it?
The Hadza tribe showed us the bows and arrows, and that's how they do their thing, and they were so accurate. They gave me a go.
I was good at archery as a kid, so if we could take a bow, that'd be good. That's one of the things I hyper focused on as a kid.
We have to build a bow. That's the only thing.
Okay, we've got to build a bow. We can watch some YouTube videos in advance and maybe scum out to build
a gun.
And then in terms of like,
classic Malfoy.
I don't know if we can take a gun, but yeah, but I think something like collective with either like your partner that you love or your kids, or also like best mates or whatever it might be, making fires, being out in the nature, under the stars, slowing down, destimulating.
Very nice.
In terms of that idea of focusing on like the effort or the outcome, obviously the holiday we get fucked every day will be really, really fun. And like, I've done those Napa, like Mali, I did all those holidays as a kid and they were fun. But I came back with like 2 weeks of mental health problems. Oh, yeah. Whereas we'd come back from that and we'd have 2 weeks of like fucking feeling unreal. We'd be like laser focused, creative, connected. So that'd probably be the path I'd want to go.
Wow. Sensational.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. What a chat.
Bro, let's go.
I love it.
I have realised I'm very different to you two.
That's fair.
Very different.
Okay.
And like
I think there's
it
some
makes
things
me
you
like
feel.
realize, oh, everyone is so unique and like thinks in different ways. Quite cool.
Okay.
I feel that, bro.
No,
And,
like I'm like in a great way. I can't wait to read your book.
yeah, man. And there might be some elements where you think, yeah, I'm super aligned to that. And the goal isn't
Oh,
like
no, 100%.
for all of us to be perfect across all this stuff. It's just to
Yeah.
find the path that
Yeah.
we find most empowering and enjoyable.
Yeah, like we're all different. We will all every single one of us are unique. But yeah, like I
Is-
guess
Is it on Kindle? Can I read it on?
Yeah, bro. It's on Kindle. It's on all those
Okay.
things.
But we're not divided. Is what I was gonna say. Like we're not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
We're
like,
kind of one at the same time.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But anyways, if you have enjoyed, let us know in the comments. Obviously, where can they find you?
At TJ Power on Instagram, where I'll teach you how to use that
Best
less.
name, man.
And you've got to plug Dose.
Yeah, and then I've got the book is called The Dose Effect. You can listen to that. You can read that. It's actually like half price on Amazon right now. It's picked as like the main back to school book for teenagers, which is pretty cool.
Sick.
Okay.
Across all ages, it's going to make a lot of sense. And if you are ready, if you're thinking like, fuck, I really want to get my life dialed in, it will achieve it. Like, it's a guarantee.
Amazing. I think it's amazing that you're
Yeah.
trying to like share that love and try and
Yeah.
help others and like such a powerful thing. I think we need more of that in the
100%.
world. So thank you for coming on, brother.
And I have to say, bro, my final thing, you might have this whole audience because you're actually cool to share this message you now have found. That
Mhm.
might be why
Mate,
you've been
that
put in
is-
this situation. So
Yeah.
allow that to be true if that
Yeah.
is the case.
For sure. For sure.
And thank
Exactly
you.
that. Thank you.
Thanks for
brother.
having me, fellas.
Thank you.
It's
No,
been a
thank you. It's
pleasure.
been incredible.
Nice one. Until next time. Peace.